we are.
Hello, 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 and welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion. Before we get started, let me again remind you that we are covered by the BIPCOT No Government License, which allows for the reuse and distribution of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is BIPCOT.org. This is episode 56?
Something
Something like that. And I think I felt like multi-generation is not cool, man. Or multi-generation war is not cool, man.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Totally the most professional show on the interwebs.
Yep.
I was gonna call it the episode with the longest title name ever because Jason can't think of anything cool to title it. YouTube said that was too long.
I had a genius title last night.
I've seen some of those video titles on YouTube that the kids watch, like Jacksepticeye videos. They have some long fucking titles. I'm just saying.
They're oppressing me, man.
Yeah.
Oh. What was that?
Help, I'm being repressed. Now we see the violence inherent in the system.
Uh-oh. I might have a problem, you guys.
What?
My phone is not charging.
Why is your phone not charging?
I don't know. It's plugged into the charger.
Do you have the car running?
Yes.
You want to get to your article first, then?
Oh, no, it's charging now. Okay, good.
Woohoo! Save.
I guess the thing was just, yeah.
It's a miracle.
I guess it was just loose in this cigarette charger thing.
Loose.
So, sorry.
loose plugins, sync podcast.
Yeah.
God damn, can we have a little professionalism here, people?
Those loose bitches.
I got a couple of screws loose over here. Sorry, guys.
Screws loose, nut on the pants. Oh, the whole
It's
fucking
paint.
Paint.
Okay. Sorry.
Paint.
It's nut based paint. Right? It's vegan.
Do not judge my give up on life pants, damn it.
No, I'm envious.
Right.
Mine I'm gonna have to throw away.
We've been through so much together, me and these pants.
Well, yeah, that's what
Hey,
Dan was saying.
those pants are keeping you from having goo boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't
Gotta
go
avoid
with goo boots.
Avoid the
go.
dreaded boo-boo.
Yeah. You're right.
I put lotion on my feet last night, and I was like, honey, it's the goo boots. And then we died for about 10 minutes.
So is that Rusty Bowers and the goo boots over there on your guys' end?
Goo boots and Infinite tomorrow.
Wetware Mecca. Fuck yeah.
Everybody's probably like,
guys.
everybody, as in the one person that may be watching, is probably like, what the fuck is going on?
I didn't see the last episode. I think I missed something.
We're so grown up.
Oh.
Phenomenally fucking grown up.
Speaking of Infinity War.
Yeah, I think goo boots are going to come up later when we talk about bikini baristas.
Dude, this title should have been named Infinity War.
Yeah.
Or this episode should have been titled Infinity War. Because that's what this is. It's the war that never fucking ends. This is the war that never ends.
That should just start playing in my head when you said.
What's the?
Some people started fighting it, not knowing why they were. And now they keep fighting it forever.
Because this is the war that never
ends.
You're welcome, guys. You're welcome.
When I post articles like this on Wolf, I'll do the wheels on the military-industrial complex go round and round, round and round. Marine recruits are being given lessons about 9/11 attacks because they were not alive when they happened.
Yep.
Fucking real.
Now let me tell you, I was 9 weeks pregnant with my oldest son when 9/11 happened, and a year from now, he will be legally required to register with the Selective Service.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
kid,
it's fucking insane. Dude.
my kids turned 19 well, a month ago. Yeah. It's yeah.
Just
Yep.
I mean, think about it. They literally weren't even alive, like, and conscious of what was the reality, and now they are training to go fight a war.
Now let's be accurate. They were alive. They just weren't born yet. Okay.
Yeah, but you know how much easier it is to cement the fucking official narrative in their heads and be like, "This is fucking war."
Yeah.
My kids,
You know what I mean?
my kids were sitting at home with probably with shitty diapers on.
Yeah.
When the planes at the tower. So, like they have not lived in a world that did not have metadata collection. That didn't have the
that's so crazy, dude.
NDAA didn't have the gate rate from the TSA. Like my kids have never known digital privacy.
Right.
Well, I mean, and what's funny is like
pre 9/11 reality.
I was in middle school when the planes hit.
Youngster.
I was actually sick at home that day, and MTV caught it live on their view of New York.
MTV caught it live. It so happened.
I was in CTMA school in Pensacola, Corey Station, NTTC Corey Station in Pensacola. That's a bunch of Navy fucking terminology for everybody else.
Acronym.
And I was, no shit. And I was living in a little apartment with my husband at the time, off base, right literally right outside the gate of the base. And I tried to get on base to go to class that day, and they turned everybody around. And I mean, like, we didn't have a TV in our apartment because we were fucking poor. Mm-hmm. And so they were like, go find a TV and turn it on and watch the news. So we went to the neighbor's apartment and watched. And we got there in time to see the second building fall. So
yeah, that's how it was. I was actually in the truck driving to school. I was doing a tech school for computer-aided drafting, and I was only about 5 minutes away from the house, and it broke in over the radio. I was listening to some country music, and it broke in. They're like, "Oh, blah 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 blah," and I was like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah.
And I turned around and went back home. And Jennifer had like she had I think she had Daniel in her hand, and like Alyssa was on the floor, and she was just staring at the TV, and just like her jaw was black and her eyes were wide open, and like she didn't even know she didn't even register that I had walked in until I reached over and shook her, because like she was in that much of a daze from it. And we just sat there with like watching it. We watched it all morning.
And I was sitting there freaking out, not because of the attack or whatever, but because of what it would mean. You know what I mean? Like I was in war. In the Navy. I joined the Navy just for something to fucking do with my life.
Yeah, I was 5 minutes.
Pregnant.
I was 5 minutes from Beale Air Force Base at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
so I was like, we're gonna fucking go to war, and something's gonna happen, and I'm gonna have to get deployed, like in support or whatever, and I'm not gonna see this baby that I'm carrying right now. Holy shit, like. I was fucking worried about what was going to happen, because I knew that we'd end up at war. I fucking knew it.
Well, yeah, everybody knew somebody was going to die for that.
Yeah.
I mean
the whole thing fucking stank to me, even from the beginning, but I knew that war was going to happen. It was fucking inevitable at that point.
Yeah, so, I remember.
Yeah, that's pretty much what my dad said, because he was special forces, and he was like, it's on now.
Yeah.
He's like, whenever they fucking pick their target of whoever they're gonna attack, he's like, they're gonna fucking.
Yeah. Whenever they figure out who to blame
no
this
mercy.
on.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. That's exactly what he said.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me jump back on the article real quick.
But I never thought it would last this long.
Yeah, anybody was like, "Oh yeah, let's just go and I don't know, like hang out in the Middle East for the next 20 years."
Yeah. Did some general say it?
Was like, let's turn the Middle East into a glass parking lot.
Yeah, didn't some general say it would last like 6 weeks or something like that?
Yeah, I want to say that was
6 weeks or 6 months or something like that.
That was either that. I think that might have been Mattis. I don't remember, but
no.
Well, I know Wesley Clark said that, like, they were going to go and take out 7 countries.
Yeah, that was
5 years, or
yeah. As the war in Afghanistan enters its 18th year, Marine Corps commanders are noticing an increasing number of young recruits who were not alive when the attack by terrorist group Al Qaeda on the World Trade Center took place in 2001. Now, the post-September 11 graduates board the bus to boot camp this summer. They will be expected to attend a mandatory history class about the terrorist attacks, its aftermath, and America's war with Afghanistan. Reporter at the Wall Street Journal, Michael M. Phillips, spent time with 200 recruits from the Bravo Company at the Marine Corps Recruit Depot in Paris Island, South Carolina, this month, and described the history lesson all recruits would have to undertake. As the new recruits entered the lecture hall at the military installation, Mr. Phillips described how Staff Sergeant Charles Gamblin narrated the chilling events leading to attack of America more than a decade ago. Staff Sergeant Charles Gambin described how 2,977 innocent Americans lost their lives during the terrorist attack and showed a photo of the bullet-ridden corpse of a man behind the attack, Osama bin Laden.
Isn't it weird how they can tell you that the person who is behind the attack is dead, but we're still at war because of it?
Yeah, but we're still there because we didn't really think about...
Because of reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
The even weirder part is if you look up if you just Google search on fucking Osama bin Laden died December 27th of 2001. There's a Fox News article. There's a Fox News article saying that he died of natural causes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the guy was on kidney dialysis.
Yeah, exactly.
And living in caves. And you're telling me that a 6-foot-tall Arab man on kidney dialysis managed to elude United States intelligence forces for that long?
What, 9 years? 9 years and change?
Uh-huh. Sure he did. Okay. And especially don't ignore the fact that he was also the former CIA operative
Tim Osman, OSMAN.
Yeah, and Bush, like the whole family, Carlisle group meeting, or whatever meeting that they had.
You're broken up.
Breaking up, bro.
What? Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I was saying Bush Senior met up with the Bin Laden family the day prior to the attacks because they're all part of the Carlisle group, which is a military-industrial complex, outfit that they have a vested interest in.
Well, gee, why would the military-industrial complex want to start an ongoing war for the next 20 years? I can't imagine.
There's no conflict of interest there. You're just a conspiracy theorist.
No idea.
That makes you a criminal according to science.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's like that line out of 1984 where he was like, it didn't matter whether, you were at war with East Asia or Eurasia. Like the war was like, continual.
Yeah, you had to have a continuous war so that you had a reason to keep everybody scared, keep everybody looking the other way.
Yeah, people that are
and
afraid
have a police state at home.
Yeah, police state at home is a big benefit for them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just started reading Agenda 21, and that just...
Yeah, she started reading. I got loaned the books, and she immediately snatched them up and started reading Golbeck's Agenda 21 novels.
Yeah, there's also Agenda 2030 too. That's like the updated version. That's what they had a thing about that ties right in too, because they had something in Agenda 2030 about like increasing the police state, like even more ridiculous than it is now. I forget exactly the name for it, but
okay. So according to OpenSecrets.org, in the year 2000, Defense Aerospace spent $35.5 million on lobbying, and in 2001. They spent $39 million.
Nobody spends that much money unless they're making one hell of a return on investment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, seriously, dude.
Yeah. 2002, they spent $42 million.
Well, and then, oh shucks, now we're in this completely different war than we've really fought before, and it's all this urban combat, which means all these vehicles that we sold you just a couple of years ago, oh darn, none of them are going to work anymore. So now we're going to have to build new ones, and you're going to have to buy those. And oh, now they're figuring out how to defeat the armor of those somehow magically. So
and now all the old ones, that you're not using anymore, you can sell those to your own police forces to keep them safer.
Oh, they don't have to sell them. They don't have to sell them.
Yeah, they just give them away.
They give them government grants.
That's right, grants.
So let's not even mention the fact that, like, right, we started this war on terror against Al Qaeda, right, and like root them out wherever they are. And then all of a sudden, we're arming them to take out Gaddafi in Libya and to take out Assad in Syria. So now, all of a sudden, we're on their side against
the federal government admitted to using Al Qaeda to oust Gaddafi.
It's like,
yeah.
So keep your narrative straight, guys. Like, if you're really going to sell us this bullshit, and then it's total madness. And then
because it wasn't even the Taliban. The Taliban wanted nothing to do with the West. The Taliban didn't want to fucking kick that hornet's nest.
Yeah, well, they were eradicating the opium production out of Afghanistan too, and it was like almost down to nothing before we invaded, and then Afghanistan went to like #1 in the world.
Yeah, and that was why we had to go in, at least partially.
That
can't have that,
and we also need to make sure all these suffering nations need central banks. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah. Well, we wouldn't want them to be left out of the global monetary system or anything. So
right.
There was also the Caspian Sea pipeline that they wanted to put in, but Taliban wouldn't okay the contract or whatever for it to run through Afghanistan. So once they overthrew the Taliban and they put that in place, and Halliburton got the contract to build that, and then there was $5 trillion worth of rare earth minerals in the Hindu Kush Mountains.
Something like that.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Gee, who could have?
Why do we go to war? We go to war for God. We go to war for
God, gold,
oil, and drugs.
The weapons of mass production. That's it. Actually, kind of Freudian, but absolutely true. Yeah. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's not wrong.
Yeah,
it's still weapons of mass destruction are the reason that we're there. Clearly.
Yeah, the weapons that we never found.
But they could definitely.
I actually had someone tell me that the United States military, they never found the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq because they secretly moved them to Syria, and then that's why we're in Syria right now.
Well, that narrative was set up at the time because when Saddam sent his daughters across the border, he did send them with a huge, awfully suspicious military convoy. So the question was, well, what was in that convoy? And then the excuse was, it had to have been the weapons, and he moved them all to Syria, except that he didn't have them. Like, everyone looked for them. No one even found evidence of anywhere they had been, and it's not like that's something you keep in a shed. All right?
Yeah, it couldn't. No. I mean, it couldn't have been that he was just a piece of shit dictator, and he fucking knew it, and he knew he had enemies, and those were his daughters.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like the large military, like that. It's one thing to protect them from, I don't know, an invading military like the United States, and the whole group that we went in with, with all of Western Europe, but it's still tribal land. So like he still has enemies in his own country.
Oh yeah, totally.
That would literally happily eliminate his entire bloodline.
Yeah, I mean, because it was split up into 3 like main groups: the Sunni, the Shia, and the Kurds.
Yep.
And the Kurds had more reason than anybody to fucking have beef with Saddam Hussein. He was mustard gassing that.
Yeah.
Those poor guys. Like, just all they've ever wanted to do is be left alone in their fucking mountains, and no one can ever leave them the hell alone.
Right?
Anybody that I know that has ever served in Iraq, they said that like any of the Kurds that they came in contact with, they were probably some of the most stand-up people they ever met.
They're amazing. They're absolutely amazing.
Yeah, like they had nothing but like fucking like they sing praises about them dudes. Like,
well, Lindsay can tell you, I'm always singing the praises of the Kurds. fucking love the Kurds.
I also have this feeling it's because he thinks their women are extremely hot.
Oh, they are. Holy
They are,
crap.
dude. They are.
Oh my god.
I'm not gonna argue with that one.
Oh, and they can wield machine guns. I mean, oh.
Yeah, which is like even sexier.
And they just want to be left alone, and
Yeah.
people won't leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah. I mean, and even though like most of Iraq, when it was the worst war zone imaginable, Kurdistan was pretty peaceful. They have theme parks that were still operating and things in Kurdistan through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, because no one in their right mind would ever actually try to invade Kurdistan, including Saddam Hussein. That's why he gassed them, because he knew he couldn't do anything if he tried to run a land war against them. He was going to lose. And
I heard they're like
same reason that you don't wage land war on Switzerland.
Yeah, because you'll never win.
No,
or
the
Russia.
terrain will defeat you before you even have to face the people.
Yeah, because you'd have to deal with the mountainous terrain, and there's just no hope. You have no hope of winning that. But that's the thing, though, is Afghanistan has a ton of mountains. It has a ton of tribes. There's no hope of winning there. You don't win. You just don't.
It's a graveyard of empires, dude.
Yeah. Afghanistan has peaks over 14,000, right? And they
the only person to ever hold it for like an extended period of time was Alexander the Great, and it wasn't even like, I think it was like 11 years or something.
Yeah, he didn't hold it for very long either. Because it's a country.
The Afghanis are fucking warriors for like centuries. Which makes you
have to wonder, why the fuck does everybody want it so badly?
Yeah.
Just leave it the fuck alone.
But those minerals.
That's what it is. It's about the minerals.
It's not just the minerals, but it's no coincidence that the rise in opiates here domestically have coincided with the war in Afghanistan.
Yep.
Well, not only that, but you got to look at it from like a strategic positioning point of view, because like once the USSR fell, the United States shifted its focus to the new boogeyman was terrorism. And then, once we sold everybody on the fucking whole terrorism thing and that got played out, then it was back to Russia. But in that meantime, while we were talking about terrorism, we were fucking lining ourselves up all along the belly of Russia and along the western border of China. And that's like,
and there has to be
kind of the reason why they. Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, there has to be a boogeyman. I mean, look at North Korea, right? Is North Korea really a threat?
No, they'll throw rocks at you, and they'll. Although I will say the magazines on their AKs are cool as hell. I don't know if you've ever seen North Korean AK.
No, I haven't.
But the mag is actually a cyclical mag.
I traded one for 200 pounds of shit.
Yeah. And a set of clothes that you can.
Yeah.
When you're starving.
And 16 boxes of edible panties. No, they're really, really rare.
That exchange rate, man.
Yeah. But they're really rare outside of North Korea, but occasionally one or two comes up and you get to see them. And while they're built to about what you'd expect from North Korea, quality-wise, their magazines are super neat because they're not really constrained by like convention or what actually works or anything like that. So they built it's like a screw track that you load up, and as you fire, the rounds don't come up. The rounds are actually getting rotated in this track and shoved back and then grabbed and pulled up. It's really weird.
But
sounds like way too many moving parts.
That sounds needlessly complicated, just like everything else commies do.
Yeah,
but it looks cool as fuck.
Yeah, Lancer's going, hey.
Yeah, well, it would be Swiss if it was made by like a Swiss man who had suffered severe brain damage.
Well, yes.
Where he's still like, we must make it as complicated as possible. Dude, but I don't know how.
Kim Jong-un fucking, he went to school.
I don't know if that was Swiss, Andrew. I think you hit more of an Austrian type of thing.
Well, there's a
he went to private school in Switzerland. Kim Jong-un did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that
under an assumed name, actually. I don't remember what his assumed name was, but I've actually seen interviews like with his classmates that were there with him. And
tell me it was Long Duck Dong.
Goo Boots McGee.
Goo Snagoo.
So,
No,
like, it
my
makes me
neighbor's
wonder,
good.
right?
He's
If
like,
like the CIA was like originally based out of Geneva, I believe, Switzerland. Like that's like one of their headquarters, like outside of the United States, anyway. And if this dude's going to private school in fucking Switzerland, maybe he's like, a plant for the
Well,
intelligence agencies to cause conflict.
maybe, but I don't know, because that whole like genetic line, they legitimately believe that they are divine.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I know that.
Like Kim Jong-il's father believed that he was a god come down off the mountain to
Oh
rule
no,
his people.
I've seen videos of like where people would be like crying and like worshiping in his picture on the wall and shit. Like it's crazy.
Dude,
Yeah, it's fucking
Like they-
weird.
Trump signed Bibles in Alabama the other day.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was like, this
Oof.
guy. I was like, I don't
Speaking
even
of
think Jesus. Like, if Jesus came back, I don't even think he'd sign Bibles.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I said,
Somehow I
Like,
feel like you wouldn't need
that's
to.
ballsy.
Jesus would open the book and be like, I didn't say shit.
yeah. He'd be like,
Right.
I didn't say
"What
any of
is
this shit.
this mess?"
Somebody hands him a King James version, and he's like, "Oh no, no,"
Yeah.
Who created this?
Yeah.
They burn.
and just bursts into flames. Nope, not
Yeah.
that one.
Y'all ever heard of Aramaic?
That is not what any of this means, you assholes.
Yeah, right. Nice try, though.
Yeah,
All right, let's.
it's the thought that counts.
Jason, speaking
I'm
of
gonna
all
turn the other cheek on
technology,
this
we
one.
should talk about the
I was just going to
Skynet.
bring that up. Yeah.
Skynet. Oh
Hashtag,
god.
hashtag Skynet is fuck.
Oh man.
U.S. Okay, just hold it, you guys. I just try to hold it. U.S. Army assures public that robot tank system adheres to AI murder policy.
I can't shake my head hard enough.
It's
I'm
just
fucking
the
real.
most nonsensical.
Literally trying to hold my mouth shut so you can finish reading.
Last month, the U.S. Army put out a call to private companies for ideas about how to improve its planned semi-autonomous AI-driven targeted system for tanks. In its request, the Army asked for help enabling the Advanced Targeting and Lethality Automated System, ATLAS.
Lethality automated system. Let's just say that out loud one more time. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead, Jason.
Advanced Targeting and Lethality Automated System, ATLAS, to, quote, acquire, identify, and engage targets at least 3 times faster than the current manual process. But the language apparently scared some people who are worried about the rise of AI-powered killing machines. And
I wonder fucking why.
Oh,
in response, the U.S. Army added a disclaimer to the call for the white papers in a move first spotted by the news website Defense One. Without modifying any of the original wording, the Army simply added a note that explains Defense Department policy hasn't changed. Fully autonomous American killing machines still aren't allowed to go around murdering people willy-nilly. There are rules, or policies at least, and that robots will follow these policies. Yes, the Defense Department is still building murderous robots, but those murderous robots must adhere to the department's, quote, ethical standards.
we need ethical
Isaac-
standards for murder machines.
Isaac Asimov is fucking spinning.
Oh yeah.
He is spinning right now.
Yeah, the added language, quote, all development and use of autonomous and semi-autonomous functions and weapon systems, including manned and unmanned platforms, remains subject to the guidelines of the Defense Department Directive 3000.09, which was updated in 2017. Nothing in this notice should be understood to represent a change in the DoD policy toward autonomy in weapon systems. All use of machine learning and artificial intelligence in this program will be evaluated to ensure that they are consistent with DoD legal and ethical standards.
Nothing
Why
about
don't they
this
just
should be-
fucking name it Vicky and get it over with?
Nothing about this should be construed to disregard Order 66 or its implementation.
The laws of robotics.
But yeah, why does this matter? The Defense Department Directive 3000.09 requires that humans be able to, quote, exercise appropriate levels of human judgment over the use of force, meaning that the U.S. won't toss a fully autonomous robot into a battlefield and allow it to decide independently whether to kill someone. The safeguard is sometimes called being, quote, in the loop, meaning that a human is making the final decision on whether to kill someone.
Yeah, because that's going to happen. Okay. So we have.
So there's no disconnect right there, though, right?
Right. In one sector of like the AI world, we have these tanks and killing machines. And in another sector, we've got scientists putting together AI that writes its own fucking code. And how long do you think it is before the two become one and we end up with the fucking Terminator?
Come with me if you want to live.
Like, what do they call that? Singularity or something like that? I remember hearing something about that.
So I guess my question then comes in to be, if this thing is supposed to make it quicker to aim, but we still have to have a human make the decision, what made that faster?
Literally nothing.
Literally nothing.
I mean, but you're expecting a person to sit there as this thing's fighting a battle and go, is that a target? Yep. Is that... People can't be bothered to read end-user license agreements, and you want them to pay enough attention.
There was actually an article the other day about an end-user license agreement where somebody actually read to the end of the fine print, and there was like a website, and she went to the website and won $10,000.
No.
Holy shit. And she was the only person to ever actually...
Yeah, right?
Like the thing,
Hey, I read it.
The thing had been out for like 8 months, and she was the first one to actually read all the way through.
Jeez.
I was really impressed the other day when we went to sign the lease. Andrew actually read it.
Well, yeah, because I'm signing a lease.
I've never read my lease, ever. I mean, I've
always.
Well, yeah, that's because Andrew is not a AI targeting system robot. Blah blah blah.
Are you and consider on top of that, consider that one of the concerns a bunch of people have is even ignoring the AI and the implication that it's absolutely 100% certain to turn into Skynet. Ignoring that, people are already worried that someone could hack into autonomous cars and get them to kill people. Yeah, and
look at this.
Crazy.
Look at this fucking thing. Like
or
that.
People have been saying that scientists have been warning now that people can hack into your fucking sex robot and make it kill you.
Right.
Wow.
The sex robot can kill you, but no, don't worry. That thing, it's not.
Yeah.
What is it going to Kegel your dick off?
This thing won't kill you at all. No, not at all. This is not like Johnny Five or nothing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no.
dude.
Yeah, that's
totally
look
not
at
going to
that
kill
thing.
people.
It's horrifying.
That actually reminds me of at the end of Dollhouse, the last episode of Dollhouse, where it's in the future.
I
Those
never watched that.
are almost identical.
So, let me get this straight here. So, they're going to have AI ethical fucking standards and all this bullshit, right? So, where does this all lead? Eventually, it's all going to be fucking autonomized police forces and militaries.
Well,
without
so then how does anybody
without
ever
any
win a war
ability
in
to
the
say
future?
no?
Right.
You know what I mean?
But then also, here's another thing. How do you ever win a war if it's just machines fighting other fucking machines?
Yeah.
And all the assholes that are being dicks are still there.
I think it might.
Well, yeah.
I think the objective might be population reduction at that point. I don't think it's necessarily about winning a war, but mass murdering people.
No, it's because I believe that things like this exist because of two things. One, the defense industry is pushing it because money. I mean, like you can only make so many fucking M4s,
right?
You got it. It's not profitable.
You don't even want to know how many jobs something like this supports.
And
all the way from R&D,
and the other one that I think they're getting tired of the negative propaganda. The negative propaganda, like when soldiers come home in the flag draped casket and you see crying mothers on the news, like that has a very negative effect on
or they're homeless or they commit suicide or
look at what happened in 91 in Somalia. As soon as a bunch of dead Americans start getting paraded on TV and you see them dragged through the streets and their bodies strung up from bridges and things, all of a sudden public outcry is so huge that Clinton pulls everybody back out and he's like, no, we can't do this because the public will never support this.
Well, that's why they stopped covering the war after Vietnam, because they saw what effect that shit had.
Oh yeah. When's the last time you saw something about a dead soldier on TV?
Yeah.
From
I don't
Afghanistan.
watch TV, so
Right. I mean, 5.
Well, I mean, during
you
during
don't
Vietnam, they used
see
to have guys in the war zone.
war
From,
correspondents.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
journalists were
They don't have
dying
that
to
shit.
cover
I mean,
the war.
they do, but like
Literally, they
don't show it on mainstream media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
No, you're absolutely right.
Mhm.
That's a fucking that job's no joke, being a fucking war correspondent.
Hell no.
Like
run around this war zone armed up with nothing but a camera.
Yeah, right.
All right,
Yeah.
and or I could carry a gun.
Yeah.
What's that
fucking crazy.
line in
But it says press on the back of my jacket. They won't shoot me.
the line in We Were Soldiers? He said by the time I need one of those things, they'll be lying around everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah,
What was that? There was a movie with Robert Redford, Michelle Pfeiffer about and Robert Redford's character dies at the end because he's covering the war.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that movie. That was a good movie, though. But what the fuck was the name of that movie? Can't remember it. Anyways, I don't know. They don't make movies like that anymore, though. You notice that too? Like Hollywood has just totally left that alone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the war propaganda in general changed like dramatically after 9/11.
Up close and personal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, actually, when was that released?
96.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's the one.
Well, are you sure that was it? And it wasn't, because there's a few others that it might have been. Hang on, let me look.
Like Michelle Pfeiffer was Robert Redford's protege, and in journalism, and they had like I think they had a romantic relationship too. But
yeah,
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't remember the title of the movie.
Yeah, it must have been Up Close and Personal.
I think so.
So, anyway.
But yeah, the war never ends.
No, it never does.
You know, even when they
never
say we're
will.
not at war, we're still engaged in pockets, in places.
It never will. I mean, they're already starting up the next war with Iran.
Right.
They're already talking about Iran. Like,
they just shut down the power grid in Venezuela.
Venezuela is what I was going to bring up.
Venezuela was hackers, quote unquote hackers.
Yeah.
Which, as we know, was the U.S. And there's actually an article I just saved, that contradicts the U.S. story that Maduro burned the aid trucks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I saw.
No, that was paid agent provocateurs to those.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
surprise me in the least. I mean, that's my go-to assumption for almost all of this anymore, is paid agent provocateurs.
Like, I'm not trying to say that like socialism would have worked if they weren't tampered with, but there's definitely tampering.
Yeah, article.
That's part of the point to me, is that socialism will never not be tampered with, because you cannot establish that kind of power over the very minutia of the lives of the people without everybody wanting to stick their fucking fingers in that pot. It's just too much potential for profit for the elites, for the oligarchy. And there will always be people who stick their fucking business into it. Always.
Yeah.
You can't have socialism without that happening.
Well, I mean,
Like,
central
people
planning.
say,
Central planning is like the the ruler's wet dream.
That's a wet dream for anybody who wants power. Can you imagine being able to say, you're only allowed to make this much money, and you have to work here, and you have to work there, and you get every piece of control you could ever want out of socialism. If you are in that government, you get every piece of control you could ever want. I mean, look
if
at
you're
where
a psychotic megalomaniac, normal people like us, we don't want control over people's lives. Like
well,
that.
yeah. I mean, if you're a sane person, you don't want anything to do with that.
No.
But it just, oh my God. And I mean, that whole thing at the border in Venezuela, it seemed off because it didn't seem to make a hell of a lot of sense. Like, wait a minute, but why? Right. Like, these are aid trucks, and if people are not starving as much, wouldn't they be a little more complacent? Wouldn't that make sense that we're maybe not as desperate? Like, because it's not like Maduro doesn't know about like the French Revolution.
I saw a video of somebody walking around a huge store in Venezuela. Looks like a Walmart, essentially. Except everything on the shelves, they had like one ketchup bottle and then a few, like 6 inches over, another ketchup bottle. And that's all it was, like a row of ketchup bottles on each shelf. And that's all they fucking had in almost the entire store. Was just like, you know what it looks like in American grocery stores. I even have a friend from Canada who's been in North Carolina for a while. And he's like, I cannot believe what your grocery stores look like. I've never seen this kind of variety in a grocery store in my life. I was like, really? Even just the difference with Canada? And he's like, yeah, it's not like this in Canada. I was like, whoa, I didn't.
Yeah, we don't sell milk in bags either.
Yes, we do.
Fucking savages.
We do. It's everywhere up here. What are you?
That's because you guys are basically Canada. So
you're basically Canada, eh? Take off, you older. Oh yeah.
But he wants to come visit later in the spring, and I was like, well, I'll take you to my little podunk grocery store because I have a feeling even my pathetic little Food Lion here in King George is gonna impress him. I mean, I can get almond flour there and gluten-free everything, but I can also get all the junk food, and I mean, there's everything in between.
So. Oh yeah, I mean, I've complained about there's the going to festival foods here instead of going to Woodman's because I'm like, oh man, there's so much more variety at Woodman's, but festival I still have like 6 brands to choose from and everything.
Right.
And I still complain because it's not the variety that I'm after. I want what I can get at Woodman's, where I have a way bigger selection. I can get Baconaise, for God's sake. Baconaise, the greatest condiment combination ever. I can find that at my grocery store.
Dude, I didn't say I don't want to say I discovered a new grocery store.
Andrew, you're making white people look bad. Right
but we went. I went to a new to me grocery store a few days ago. And there was like 9 different kinds of bacon.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there was like a pepper and
say.
Oh, now I'm telling you, we're south of the Mason-Dixon line here where I'm at. This tiny little grocery store, and my entire county, my whole county has 26,000 people in it.
My county has over 1 million.
That's my entire county is 26,000 people, and we have at least 20 different kinds of bacon.
America.
Oh yeah, we have. There's actually
thick slice, thin slice, center cut, hickory smoked, maple smoked, pepper, I mean, we've got it all, baby.
If we walk into Woodman's actually has a bacon section.
Yes.
So it's 4 rows, I think 4 rows high, and probably 9 or 10 wide, and every single one of those is different.
Yeah, I'm gonna get goo boots. I walk into that place.
Oh, you should see. There's that. They have this seafood where it's like it's got to be 15 feet long of different types of fish and various seafoods, and I can't even imagine.
We have warnings on our seafood here.
Because of Fukushima.
Because of Fukushima.
It's just because it's California. Everything causes cancer in California. As soon as you cross the border, head into Nevada, you'll be fine.
Especially the politicians.
I can buy GMO salmon now too.
I always love that. Like I'll look at a product that we buy here, and at the bottom of the label it says contains substances known to the state of California to cause cancer. I'm like, what the fuck do I care what the state of California thinks it knows?
California,
Jesus.
being in California, like if you're on this side of the fence, you're gonna have cancer. But if you're on that side of the fence, you're fine. Yeah.
You know what causes cancer?
I mean,
Literally everything will.
Ideologically speaking, that's not far off. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It also makes you start wondering, what are they doing for testing in California that's causing everything to cause
Yeah,
cancer?
they're like, so the way that we're going to test this, we're going to bombard it with radiation for 3 days.
Yeah, they have like super ridiculous regulations.
Yeah.
They literally tax cow farts.
I know.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Uh,
I have come up with $1 million idea of butt plugs.
just
For
giant
cattle.
corks.
We just need to develop like a Gas X or Beano recipe for cows. Right?
I was surfing the web yesterday and I found a butt
Probiotics.
plug that has a Bitcoin on the end.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I
God.
saw that. And there's a ball gag that has
And a ball
Bitcoin.
gag, yeah, a ball gag with a Bitcoin. Yeah,
Jesus.
and capped as fuck.
That's a pretty niche market, though. I gotta say, that's a pretty niche market.
Well, I mean,
Florida bill would ban the banning of plastic straws.
What makes you think I want
yeah, I'm starting to see everywhere start selling like silicone straws and stuff now, and I'm just like, oh God, really?
Amazon has had them forever.
Yeah, but
And you know what? It's cool if you want to do that. I totally get it. You know,
Why not make hemp
we
straws?
have a whole bunch of reusable straws in our house that we use for everything. It's not a big deal, but
they're so hard to
I
clean.
mean,
Yeah,
I
that's
was just
my
gonna
issue.
say that.
they can be.
You gotta have like a pipe cleaner.
Yeah.
I have an assault box of plastic straws. I bought them like right before the ban. It was like 200 plastic straws.
Crazy prepper.
I don't reuse them.
You're hoarding straws.
Yeah. SB 588 also prohibits local bans on selling sunscreen that harm coral reefs. A bill putting a 5-year memorandum on local laws that ban plastic straws while state officials study the issue cleared the Senate committee Monday on a party line vote. The bill, SB 588, also sponsored Travis Hudson, Republican out of St. Augustine, said he appreciates the environmental problems posed by plastic straws, but, quote, just not a fan of government on the state or local level telling the businesses what to do, and believes more can be done by businesses voluntarily cutting back on single-use plastics.
So it's a moratorium. They literally banned
Okay,
a ban.
Okay, he's not a fan of government or of the state or local level telling business what to do,
Unless what they want to do is sell sex or marijuana or.
Yeah. Can we just stop and let that sink in for a few minutes?
I don't like the idea of telling people how to live their lives unless they're living their lives in ways that I don't approve of.
That's like when you want to record what somebody says and fucking play it back right in their face right after they fucking said it and make them listen to it.
Like if you could screenshot their voice and just like replay it. Hudson's bill originally said that businesses may only distribute plastic straws if customers ask for them. An array of environmental groups are pushing for the ban on plastic straws. Quote, at this point, we don't need a study, we need action, said Holly Parker Curry with the Surfrider Foundation.
The rallying cry of the emotional and reactive.
Yeah. Curry and other environmental advocates repeated a frequently cited statistic among those concerned with plastic pollution that by 2050 there is expected to be more plastic than fish in the sea by weight, according to the World Economic Forum.
I would like to know where they're getting those numbers because we don't even know what's at the bottom of most of the oceans.
Yeah.
Still.
Plastic floats, fish don't.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we can test here, and I mean, within these first 10 feet, that's probably pretty representative of the next
and you know what? If
3.5
you
miles.
really fucking care, look, there's a guy in Japan, I think, that's created an invention that turns plastic trash back into oil, for God's sake, gasoline oil, like crude oil. And then there's this kid who's developed a big like rig that can move itself around the ocean, gathering up plastic. I mean, these are the things that you can fucking focus on that might actually make a difference if you believe, the statistic, do something more useful with your fucking power or your time,
there's
your
no
energy.
need for studies. Why would we need to do studies to find out if these things
We need
work?
action. It's a time for action.
Yeah, it's better to be morally correct than factually correct.
Leap before you look is literally what these people are saying. Leap. You don't need to fucking look. Just leap.
Cut 6 times, measure 0.
Yeah, exactly. So, idiots. Go ahead, ban the ban, and then let's banning bans. And then I want to banning bans. And then we're going to banning bans. And around we go.
Banception.
Yes.
This is the song that never.
Oh God, why are we going to this again?
It's so great. What a time to be alive. They're banning their own bands.
We're gonna ban bans.
I love it.
Just the Fed gov's gonna step in and ban them from banning the bands.
Yeah.
You are now banned from banning bands. Well, I ban you from banning me from banning the band.
The UN's gonna step in and ban the United States from banning the states from banning local municipals.
Right.
Straws.
Really, I think that
the
solution is that we need to make sure that plastic straws are part of state constitutions.
Yeah.
And then we've eliminated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
all you have to do is
straws,
kill
guns, and premarital sex. That would be a fantastic name for this article or for the name of the podcast.
Yeah, it would be.
Yep.
Fucking Jason.
Human rights like straws, guns, and premarital sex.
Sounds like a great convenience store.
That would be a good book too.
Yeah. Don't look at me. I've already got a couple projects in the bullpen. So.
Oh.
Eventually, I'll be suicidal enough to write a story of my life.
Jeez.
Yeah. Midwife's arrest shines light on rural America's home birth crisis.
It's not a fucking crisis.
It's a crisis because we can't track it and control every possible thing. It's making us very upset.
Well, what happens?
It's a crisis because you're using your bodies without our permission and supervision. Fuck you.
What happens if I go into labor suddenly and have the baby at home? Am I now in violation of laws?
You better not have that baby in the back of a taxi.
No.
Oh, jeez.
Public health violation, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
CPS definitely needs to take that child, clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. It's for the greater good. Yeah, and don't you dare homeschool it.
The whole thing is that if you don't have the birth certificate signed, then they can't pledge your child as collateral against the debt.
Yeah,
true.
For 7-8, each new birth certificate is worth. They place an actual monetary value on it. You are worth $750,000 of lifetime debt to the Federal Reserve from the U.S. government, because that's what they figure on average they can squeeze out of each of us in tax revenue over our lifetime.
On aaverage, yeah.
On average.
Beautiful.
That ain't just the United States either. That's
when people say they feel worthless, you're worth $750,000.
You're worth $750,000 of debt.
Well, what's the quote? If you ever think that nobody cares about you, try not paying your taxes.
Yeah.
Right.
Now think about that. If that $750,000 was invested through the economy into whatever, you know what I mean? If it was like a market-based economy.
If people could put it into the economy under their own direction.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
There would be a lot more gun stores.
Yes, there would.
Yeah. But things would be so much fucking different. Like we wouldn't have failing infrastructure. You know, all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you would have a wartime economy because you wouldn't have a government fucking waging war constantly.
Yep.
Yeah.
All we really
wouldn't
need,
exist.
All we really need in order to replace government is like a website that can show you like public fundraisers or fundraisers for public projects near you farther away from you, charity, things like that.
We already have stuff like that though, like GoFundMe.
But I mean something
we got
like, you know, like a big, like something that really everybody knows. And so you go to the website and whatever you want to contribute to in your local community, you want to fix that road next to your house, contribute to that. You know what I mean? And then the companies can pick up the projects. If you don't see your project on there, fucking add it. I mean, God.
Yeah.
I
mean,
there's got to be an app for
millions. Well, they paid millions to the people for Cards Against Humanity to literally dig a hole for no fucking reason. You can't tell me that we couldn't crowdfund fixing a pothole. Right?
Right. Yep. And you can't tell me that the biggest contributors to those public works campaigns and fundraisers would be businesses. I guarantee you businesses would be the biggest contributors because that's their lifeblood. That's how customers get to their door.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Gosh, I've built a business in the middle of this field and no one is coming. I cannot understand what I can possibly do to fix this problem.
We should create a government.
Yeah,
we're going to need government.
We're going to need government.
Didn't you say that road was...
Well, no, you got to create a government in order for roads to exist. You know what I mean? That's You don't just create roads. You got to create the government first, and then you can have the roads.
But
yeah, I mean, unless you're in Iowa.
But then you create the government, and the committee solution is to like airdrop people into your fucking location with helicopters.
Yeah, it's the only way.
It's the only way. It's the only thing that makes sense.
I really want to get to my friend's house all the way over there, but there's a field and there's no clear track. I do not understand how I could solve this problem. I'm going to need a helicopter, and for that, I need government.
Yeah. The crazy haired guy, catapults.
Yeah, just
trebuchets. Trebuchets. You guys, that's me. I'm the trebuchet lady.
We need a whole lot more Target stores.
Yeah.
There we
giant
go.
Target. The catapult and giant Target liquidation emporium. That's what we fucking need.
Actually, you know,
be like Christian Slater and Prince of Thieves. Well, fuck me, he made it.
That was
yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
When Elizabeth Caitlin gave birth to her first child in the hospital over 3 decades ago, she was pushed into what she felt was an unnecessary C-section, and it sparked her new passion, home birth. She went on to have all but 4 of her children, 14 in total.
Wow.
And in between having her own babies, began working as an assistant to a local home birth midwife.
My God.
In between, like, what? How?
When did you have time? First of all, and on top of that, I mean, of course it got easier as time went on. But you came in by 14 kids. It's just a slip and slide. They're just popping out ready for school.
Right.
All right.
And the older ones are taking care of the littler ones. So there's not much you have to do anymore.
Holy crap! 14.
As Caitlin's daughters became adults, one told her, "quote Mom, we're going to want you to catch our babies." And it prompted her to take her passion a step further by working towards national certification and formalizing her knowledge through a 4-year Idaho-based midwifery college. It became what's called a Certified Professional Midwife, CPM, through the program, and eventually began serving not only her daughters but many other local women as a trained birth attendant. Quote, I had intended to work with my daughter, said Caitlin 53, speaking to Yahoo Life Now, blah, blah, blah. From her home in Penn Yan, New York, a scenic sweep of upstate farmland hugging the northern tip of Keauka, Kauki Lake.
Dan, how do we say that?
Never heard of it.
And the Mennonites started calling me. There are approximately 700 Mennonite families in and around Yates County, and Caitlin, who is not Mennonite, has caught most of their babies. By her own estimate, she has attended more than 500 births. So it was a crushing blow to not only herself and her family, but also to the community at large when Caitlin was taken away in handcuffs and put in jail for practicing midwifery without a license.
Now, this happened because a birth that she was attending, the mother ended up and the baby ended up at the hospital because something went wrong, right? And the baby ended up dying.
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was arrested at her home twice in late 2018, first in November for practicing without a license, a felony, after she was reported to authorities by FHH Thompson Hospital in Kanagawa, New York, where she had transferred a Mennonite woman having difficulty.
Canandaigua?
Yeah, New York, and transferred a Mennonite woman who was having difficult labor and where the baby was born and shortly after died. Caitlin was arrested again in December, just a few nights before Christmas, on related felony charges for allegedly continuing to practice. Her 8-year-old daughter watched her. 53, 8-year-old daughter. She was 45 when she had her last kid. Wow. Her 8-year-old daughter watched her get handcuffed and led away in the dark. Caitlin spent the night in jail and was bailed out by the Mennonite community, who quickly raised about $8,000.
She delivered all of their children just fine. They all trusted her. They all wanted her to do this. But the state didn't say that it was okay. So now suddenly.
But you know what? Even babies that are born in hospitals sometimes fucking die. And for perspective, this is the same state that just legalized like partial birth abortions all the way up till fucking delivery. Okay.
I lost 2 little brothers. One was stillborn, and the other one died of SIDS when he was like 4 months.
Yeah, my parents lost 2 babies.
That's horrible.
They were anencephalic. Yeah.
No.
It happens. I mean,
but because of that,
this isn't about safety. Yeah, what that highlights is that this is not about safety. Yeah. It's not about safety control at all. It's about control. That's exactly what it's about.
Yep.
Yeah.
They always use safety as the guise, though, for control.
Quote everybody
because it makes people afraid.
But that means she's lost 1 out of 501 births.
She's probably doing better than a hospital OB.
Yeah. Probably.
And it's for the Mennonites. Mennonites, they're not going to go to the hospital unless they like absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but one is a tragedy, but you got like whatever
a flock of
abortions. It's just a statistic.
Yeah,
it's just a clump of cells.
Yeah. Quote, everybody flocked towards her. Rosalind Sauter, a mom of 2 who was one of Caitlin's first clients. She had such a good personality and compassionate, and word of mouth spread. She never advertised. Her sister, Brenda Zimmerman, also a mom of 2, adds, quote, she wasn't just our midwife. She was our great friend also. It wasn't like she was delivering our babies. She was a mom to a lot of us. Both are Mennonites, adherent to the old order culture who, similar to the Amish, reject military service and political office and avoid most modern conveniences, including the internet, TV, radio, and automobiles, with some but not all orders relying on horse-drawn buggies and unnecessary medical interventions, especially when it comes to birth. By all accounts, the women of the community deeply love and trust Caitlin, and despite their quiet stoicism, that is a norm for women in their culture. They've been speaking up pretty loudly in her defense.
Good.
Although Caitlin is experienced and professionally certified, she is not licensed to practice midwifery in New York, a particularly complicated state with the country's complex midwifery laws. New York offers a clear path to licensure for only 2 types of midwife: certified nurse midwives, who are licensed in all states and must earn a master's degree, maintain an active registered nurse license, and graduate from a certified nurse midwife education program, and certified midwives, a relative new class provider who must also earn a master's degree.
Isn't it crazy?
I mean, sorry, but like giving birth and helping birth babies is not rocket science.
No, it's not
at all. We've been doing it for thousands of years with no hospitals.
Neither is cutting hair, but you need a license to do that too.
Yeah.
It's
there are fewer than 100 certified nurse midwives in the U.S. Most of them are in New York.
Jesus.
Wow. They have no choice.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which is
it doesn't require a fucking master's degree. It absolutely does not require a fucking master's degree.
Well, and keep in mind why this is set up this way is not in the interest of anyone's safety. It's not in the interest of any of that.
Hold on, one more quick point. Certified professional midwives, as is Caitlin, of which there are nearly 3,000 in the U.S., almost all of them attend births at their clients' homes, became nationally accredited either through an apprenticeship or educational program or a combination of the two. While CPMs are licensed to practice in 31 states, New York is not one of them. So she could have delivered births in 31 different states, just not legally in New York.
And it's ridiculous because remember, I mean, again, that they also don't have a clear path if you're not already a master's degreed nurse. Mm-hmm. There's no clear way for you to do this. And this is all set up intentionally to force people out of doing home births and into doing them in the hospitals because people are way easier to track that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
not only
paperwork.
that, but then they can make money off of vaccinating the children. They can make money off of circumcision or whatever else. You know,
they can add all those unnecessary procedures.
Tons of stuff.
Yeah.
Beth was saying that one of the girls I work with is pregnant, and she found out she's having a boy, and she's like, "Yeah, boys are actually more expensive because they just automatically charge for the circumcision."
Yeah, whether you actually get it done or not, they charge you for it.
Oh wow.
$500.
Nope, $4,000.
Really?
Yep.
Jeez.
Who would pay that kind of money to have
really gone up.
their child fucking mutilated? It's kind of fucked up.
People in the state of Wisconsin, apparently.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And you know, and I've said this before, they don't. I mean, typically mothers are usually in their 20s. You know, it starts getting the herd gets a little thinner up in the 30s and stuff. So they're not usually women who put a lot of work into it. They shove the papers under your nose when you haven't slept a solid 2 hours at a time in 48 hours. Mm. They do it when the father is not in the room. They come and get the baby. And I mean, like, it's not.
They're sneaky as fuck about it.
They are. And they're really taking advantage of people to just get the extra fucking buck out of that kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
For now, as Caitlin awaits the next step in her case, a decision on whether she'd be indicted by a grand jury or see her case handled by a judge or dismissed, she is barred from practicing. Quote, "I feel antsy and anxious and out of my element right now," she said, sitting at home with her 8-year-old. The expected mothers in her area, already underserved when it comes to home birth midwives and even OBGYN services, are in a state of shock, and some planning to use the services of less qualified, uncertified birth attendants who practice discreetly in the area.
Like doulas and things like that.
And others completely unsure what they will do, remain hopeful that Caitlin will return. At least 2 women have reportedly had unattended home births since her arrest, and according to several Mennonite women, a group of 4 CNMs from the Rochester area have sent around letter offering their services at a discount, although women say the offered price, which would be paid out of pocket, is at least double what they paid for Caitlin and thus unfeasible.
Jeez. I mean, I wonder what would happen if they just happened to be visiting her at her house.
Oh gosh,
and go into labor. Oops. You know,
I was there and responding to an emergency.
Right, and then they just happened to give her a gift of her usual fee.
Yeah, this article, which I only read like a small percentage of the article just now, is really, really long and really, really involved. And it's a really good read if you guys ever want to dig into it.
Yeah.
Hey, do we have any comments or anything?
No, nothing that matters. Karen said before that she hopes when we touch on the Federal Reserve federal vaccine mandate stuff that's going on this week. And then Tara said, quote, "Efficiency during murder is the only area the U.S. government cares about when getting the job done."
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole mandatory vaccination thing definitely concerns the fuck out of me because, I mean, even if there are things like, even if, say, let's for devil's advocate sake, say that there's absolutely nothing wrong with vaccines. They're completely 100% safe. as the CDC says, right?
Right. For the sake of
And
argument, let's
you have-
assume that's true.
You have absolutely nothing to worry about. Why would you need to make something mandatory and force it on people? And not only that, but once you can start forcing things on people, what if you want to decide to start sneaking things into it?
Let's
Right.
let's not
You
stop.
know what I mean?
there.
Like
I mean, if it's
Tuskegee
for the
experiments.
yeah, if it's for the good of people, right? If it's for our health, why stop at vaccines?
But and could you even
mandate
think of, like,
mandate vitamins.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
mandate
45
exercise.
every morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mandate working out, and you know what? And if we do that, they're gonna have to know that we did it. So they're gonna have to put like little computer monitors in our houses with these little cameras, and then have these morning exercises that they could do. But we don't want the person leading it to sound unfriendly, so we could make them like some sort of sibling. Who's maybe just an older sibling who's leading them. And
this sounds awfully familiar.
Then we might as well use all this
Does
energy
sound
that we're
familiar.
creating
yeah,
by-
gee.
Then all using this energy that we're creating by using, like, say, a treadmill or something, we can then use that to generate electricity for the whole country.
Oh.
And we're putting people
Don't
to
give them
work.
ideas,
And
dude.
we're putting people to work, and then we might as well
Yeah,
go
don't
and
give them
everybody
ideas.
in color descriptive jobs. And then,
Well,
oh wait, that's right, I'm now describing Agenda 21.
Yeah.
Well, let's not stop at
But
Agenda
let's
21.
there's another
Let's start controlling what people eat.
right.
Let's get rid of fast food. That won't have a negative effect on the economy at all.
No.
No, not
But
one little
there's
bit.
another aspect of forced vaccinations, the safety idea behind making them mandatory, that I haven't seen one person mention it yet. Can you imagine the potential for bioterrorism if vaccines were fucking mandatory?
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, you know, and the thing is, like, I'm definitely not anti-vaccine. Plain and simple, I'm just not.
Me neither.
But I believing that the majority of vaccines are perfectly safe and that the science backs that up.
And
even
some of them are worth the risk. You
Right.
run the cost benefit analysis, and some of
Right.
them are worth the risk, you know.
Right.
But
And
others, God no.
But even with that, I still am horrified by the idea that you would require people under threat of caging them, taking their children away, everything else, for not putting something willingly into the vein on their arm and into their fucking body. You're going to mandate the government gets to decide. You're going to allow government to decide what people do and do not get to put in their bodies.
It's bad touch. It's bad touch, Uncle Sam, because you are going to let me forcibly penetrate you and expel diseased fluids into your body, or I'm gonna fucking throw you in jail.
The people mandating this, like these are the same people that say Trump is a Nazi, or that thought Obama was the Antichrist.
Yeah.
Yo, shout out to Slinky, by the way.
Yeah.
God damn it, Slinky.
Bad touch, Uncle Slink.
Oh,
Sorry, I
my goodness.
commandeered your nickname.
Oh, that's still one of my favorite memes. Have you guys seen that one?
Oh yeah,
Bad touch Uncle Slinky, and it's like the bad touch Uncle Slinky starter pack.
I love
and it's
that
like
one.
It's like this white beat up van, and then there's like
for a while there you were
then
having
there's
a new picture.
then there's
days.
this big bottle of vodka, and there's this ashtray just completely stuffed with butts. And then there's like, and then I have different variations of it where they're like, there's a communist flag, and then there's like a girl with hairy legs. And then there's a girl doing this, you know, with the little small pecker sign. Yeah. And then there's another one that has a I love the Yankees.
Yeah. I bet he fucking hated that.
There's a few variations of it.
Yeah.
Yo, earlier for like 15 minutes I was like trying to say shit and I was like, why aren't these guys listening to me? And then I realized I had my mic on fucking mute. Oh, Jesus Christ.
The bad Santa.
Professional.
Yeah, the bad Santa, that's one of the other ones on the meme.
We are the most professionals on the
I am
web.
always impressed with our
Yes.
professionalism and our ability to deliver the
We put out a
hard-hitting,
like a super quality product here.
Totally professionals. Absolutely.
And for sure, all wearing pants.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a mark of professionalism.
Regardless of what may or may not be on our pants.
I like to consider
pink.
myself an idiot savant.
Well, that was known.
Well, I can't spell savant, so that is that. Yeah.
Sound it out.
Utopian Bus just says, just join the live stream. What's the timestamp so I can watch from the beginning after the end? Right now it is. I have no idea. I don't see a clock anywhere.
Uh-oh.
It's 10:22 right now, so you're probably like
that doesn't help.
What?
No. All right. Bikini Barista Coffee Shop in
Probably a little
California
over an
has
hour,
license revoked after city council deems outfits too revealing.
So first it was Washington.
Those savage bastards. Those are not too revealing at all.
Come on.
Those are perfect. Yeah.
And this is in
not revealing enough.
California. It's in fucking California.
Oh, doesn't everybody always cover up and like dress incredibly modestly in California?
Yeah,
especially have nudist beaches.
Yeah, totally, especially like in Southern California.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not like people wear string bikinis in public in California.
No, never. Yeah. No one would ever do that.
Well, yeah, this is technically actually not too far from me. It's only about 35 miles south of San Francisco. An unconventional coffee shop in California is finding itself in the middle of a controversy yet again as a result of the servers' skimpy styles. At a meeting Tuesday, city council members in American Canyon voted unanimously to revoke the license granted to Bottoms Up Espresso after critics argued that the Bikini Barista's coffee shop was operating more like an adult business than a cafe.
I like the name.
Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? Look, even if you... Okay, here's the anarchist position. Even if I can go through the drive-thru and then pull around back for a fucking blowy, who fucking cares?
I do. Yeah. I want to go during fucking while it's open.
I was going to say, wait, where is this place? Because
exactly.
No. If you want something like that, I'll get a hold of Peaches. She doesn't have...
Like, get a load of this head on my coffee.
Right.
There's too much foam.
What is it? I mean, like, I don't get, I never really got these, like, puritanical, societal fucking ideas of how people should behave. Who fucking cares? Look, as long as you're not the one doing the blowing or receiving the blowing, is it really any of your fucking business?
And if you don't like the uniforms, don't fucking go there.
Yeah. Don't buy their coffee. Don't fucking go there if you don't want to see
pretty
it.
Much.
Yeah, city officials claim they received complaints about the server's outfit following the store's opening, prompting a community director to speak with the owner.
Were any of the complaints from the employees? Because those are the only people whose complaints should matter.
Quote, I met with one of the owners on January 4th, 2019, who informed me that he intends to require the employees of American Canyon store to wear costumes that are as revealing as the costumes worn on staff at other Bottoms Up Espresso stores. Community Director Brent Cooper, who previously said that according to the Vallejo Times Herald, quote, the business owner provided a, quote, dress code. The costumes and the dress code are revealing to a degree that the business meets the definition of an adult business per the city's municipal code.
How?
So the only reason I'd ever have a problem with this is literally if, like, you catch the girls reaching into their cooches and then turning around and sticking their fingers in your coffee. Then fair enough.
And there are some people who may pay extra for that.
That's true.
I
may or may not pay extra for that.
According to the San Francisco Gate, the city's municipal code also requires workers to cover specific anatomical areas of the body, including the buttocks, the pubic area, and the breast below the nipples. Otherwise, it may be classified as an adult entertainment establishment.
Wait. the breast below the nipples, so I can totally have my nipples out. I just can't.
Just no underboob.
No underboob.
That's actually what it says, and the breast below the areola.
So you could totally have one of those shelf bra things, like with just nipple.
Yeah.
And nope, it's covered, man. It's good.
Just
enough.
like the kind of like the corsets that just push up, right? They don't actually cover anything.
But you can't have underboob. See, that's the problem.
Yeah, you could have
No,
top
some of them
boob.
have like a demi cup, that holds the bottom.
Not that
the nipples are still visible.
No, you can't.
Not that I would know from personal experience about these articles.
I'm just saying, like a push-up bra that only covers like the lower half. That is absolutely fine with me for a business where the girls have to like bend over to hand you things.
I'm sure it is.
I would actually keep it at that point if they're well endowed. I'm actually worried about their safety because you're dealing with a lot of hot things and they're just going to swing out. That actually would cause concern.
Yes.
But not to the point where I would tell them they can't do it. I might advise them against it.
Yeah, I'd be like, you might want to restrain those a little.
I'm not forcing anybody. I mean, if you want to be fucking scarred for life for, $12 an hour plus tips or whatever, go for it. But
California's 15.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
If they spill it, I'm willing to lap it up.
Oh, let me help you with that whipped cream.
Right.
I got more on you. Hang on.
Well, what's funny is this also means that they could totally wear rope bras, like where you take the rope and actually make a bra with it. That's completely legal and just fine according to that.
Yeah. The owner of Bottoms Up, Nate Wilson, told Fox News that he felt the city, quote, he felt that this, quote, city has gone beyond the law with its ruling, but will, quote, move on from the location regardless. We have decided to move on from that location due to the fact that the city will waste a bunch of taxpayers' money to fight us in court where if we wanted to make a point, we would win. We do not fall into adult entertainment as they suggest. The license was revoked before we opened and went to any appeals. The city is acting beyond their powers. It shows you what even small government abused, or shows you that even small government abuses their powers.
Wait, that
would be what I would do.
They decided that it was too revealing before
they even opened. Yes.
Yeah.
So they couldn't have received any. The best they could have gotten is complaints because I guarantee you, the wives of some like city council members or something, caught their husbands looking up the Instagrams of some of the other locations, got all pissed off.
Yeah, one of those city council members is not getting blowies if that thing gets put in. And that's that's essentially what happened.
And that's what happened. And now all of a sudden it's an issue.
We received complaints. Yeah. From
we
your
received
fucking stuck up wife.
Rail your fucking wife so we can enjoy some tits at a fucking coffee place.
See,
really?
And
you're not getting any. God fucking damn.
Yeah. And Capistan, you could get a mug and a tug for a discount.
Yeah, a mug and a tug. Yeah.
A mug and a tug. Hell yeah.
Would you like some whipped cream with your coffee? I would.
Lace up your goo boots and come on down for a mug and a tug.
Hey, come on down, literally.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Fucking madness.
Oh.
A mug and a tug.
Laying a latte.
A Joe and a blow.
Yeah, Joe and a blow.
Joe and a blow. I do like
ding,
that one.
Ding, ding. There you go.
I was trying to work macchiato in there, but it's just not gonna. I don't think it's gonna fit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how to do this.
Fucking Joe and a blow.
Give her a turbo shot.
With whip.
That's the government mandated multivitamin right there.
Oops. Sorry, it turned into a red eye. I apologize.
My mom's gonna watch this one.
The best part of waking up.
I got yours.
Joe and a blow.
It's gonna be not to put it in her butt.
Oh my god.
Joe and a blow. That could have been a really good title for this episode also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What up?
Oh, okay.
Holy shit.
I'm trying to calm down to read the next
Have
story.
we all regained our composure sufficiently to move on, or?
I think we always
No,
had our
because
composure.
the next story is just going to bring them right back, you guys.
All right, let's hit it then.
Deputies claim gang of East LA Sheriff's Station terrorizes them.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. The Babylon Bee wrote this, right?
Nope.
Nope, this is real.
Yep. This is
This is fucking gangception, is what this is.
Yeah,
Like this is like
a
what-
group. Yeah. A group of Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department deputies filed legal claims Thursday against the county, saying they are victims of gang members who work for the department and terrorize young Latino deputies working in East LA.
How's it fucking feel, you asshole?
The gang of
Oh,
deputies
God.
call themselves the Banditos.
Because they don't understand what that word means.
Or they do understand what that word means.
Yo, dog, we heard you like gangs. So
What a gang. The gang of deputies call themselves the Banditos, according to the claims, which say that the county failed to rid the department of the gang and to discipline the gang members, who all have matched tattoos of a skeleton with a sombrero, bandolier, and pistol.
I say that we rid all police departments across the nation of gangs.
All gang
And
members.
let's define that properly, shall we?
The Banditos have been
they're all gangs. If we rid all police departments
Exactly.
of gangs,
yeah,
none
you
of them
just
would be
have
working
fucking
anymore.
empty buildings.
We're mad because these
Pretty
people are
much.
terrorizing us while we terrorize you. And
They don't like competition, is what it is.
Pretty much.
It's making it very hard for me to terrorize when I'm being terrorized. I find this to be a hostile.
Yes.
Scaring
Yes.
up on my territory.
The Banditos have been a focus of previous lawsuits and media reports, as has the decade-long issue of secretive gangs or cliques of deputies in the department. Quote, the hostile environment at the police station has led to deputies fearing their fellow officers more than the criminals in the streets.
They all feared for their lives.
Fucking
They fucking
good.
shoot out at the police
God.
station.
Again, how does it feel, asshole, to be in fear for your lives because of cops? Oh, look at that.
Yeah, right?
Oh my
Welcome to
goodness.
my
Okay.
fucking world.
Sweet fucking irony.
According to the claims, which were brought by 5 young deputies and 2 veterans, department leaders failed to discipline members of the Banditos and encouraged its members to retaliate against deputies.
Oh my God.
The claims further allege that the Banditos exert power over the deputies on the beat in a manner similar to prisoners running the prison yard and target young Latino deputies, overloading them with calls and not providing backup to dangerous calls in the field when backup is required.
It's like public school. If there's a bully, you can't tattle on them. You're supposed to stand up for yourself. They just leave you to it. Only these toddlers, they're all fucking armed at taxpayer expense.
Yeah.
Yeah. According to the claims, just prior to being elected, the new sheriff, Sheriff Alex Villanueva, attended the department party on September 20, 2018, where several purported Banditos gang members assaulted young Latino officers, while several deputies watched and didn't intervene, as one of the young deputies was nearly strangled, choked, and punched in the face by the gang.
So he was arrested as a Latino man, essentially, is what I'm
He shouldn't have resisted.
He shouldn't have resisted.
Stop
that, you know.
resisting.
Yeah.
Right?
And the police are not there to protect you.
Yeah.
The gang member was just doing his job.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh no, minority suspect. Minority suspect.
Four of the purported Banditos members were placed on leave after the incident and are under criminal investigation, according to the claims, which also states that Banditos have continued to retaliate against young officers, including by secretly emptying out the bullets from one of the officers' guns in an effort to set him up to be killed outside in the field.
Oh my God.
Why aren't you checking your mags before you
Yeah,
go
first
out?
of all, what kind of an idiot isn't checking his own
Yeah.
weapon? And
Right.
second of all, are you kidding me? Like, what? They're like, all these guys have done, as far as I can hear, is just fully embraced what their job is.
Right.
And it's
Pretty
terrorize people and try and get them killed.
Holy shit, they're treating us the same way we treat everybody else. Make them stop. This sucks.
I joined this club because I thought I was going to get to do it, but no one was going to do it to me.
Well, it sounds like the police departments are becoming a lot like the police departments in Mexico, because I was watching this thing. Joe Rogan was interviewing this dude that was a narco journalist down in Mexico, covering the drug cartels. And he
the
said
police
a lot of
departments in Mexico are basically fucking military arm of the cartels.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he was saying. He was saying
very
that
paramilitary. Yeah.
They train kids to engage in terrorism and like pretty much desensitize them, like cutting off limbs and hands and fucking beheading people and all kinds of shit. I was like, wow, that's fucking crazy. And he's
Did
like,
you see that
he's
recent story of like all the bodies strung up on the
Yeah, I was
boat,
gonna
like,
say
with
the cops in Mexico actually string bodies up from fucking bridges and shit.
Yeah,
overpasses
wild,
and
dude.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, shit
Well,
was
yeah.
wild down there.
There's also that one town down near Baja, where the people of the town actually came in and took over the town. Right, kicked the gangs out, and then like took the badges from all the cops and kicked the cops
I
out
heard
of
about
town.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an option.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Yep. You need enough people, and they need to be armed enough and pissed off enough. But you get
Like
them together.
how blurry does the line have to get between law enforcement and fucking and gangs? Like how obvious does this have to be?
Yeah.
Before people fucking wake up and realize.
Well, this guy was saying that the Sinaloa drug cartel, like, it goes back like at least like they're all tied in with the police departments and whatnot, because they were able to buy off all these people, like politicians and people within the certain
public
positions.
Servants, they're no more fucking resistant to bribery and corruption than anybody else.
Exactly.
And honestly, I would argue that they're more susceptible to it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they're already being bribed essentially to just sacrifice their own moral agency in favor of what the state tells them to do. They've already let go of their own ethics and their own morals in favor of what someone else is doing.
And their own moral compass. Yeah.
Yeah, and usually they don't get that position unless there's already some kind of leverage on them.
Yeah. Like that elder sheriff or whatever saying that liberty doesn't mean you get to run around with an AR-15.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. That's fucking exactly what it means.
Okay. What's the difference between being a member of the Bandidos and having the blue line Punisher skull tattoo or
nothing
or under gun?
No
different symbolism.
Difference.
Yeah, I literally brought that up just so I could bring up another article.
Okay.
Okay. The guy that created the Punisher, Jerry Conway, the guy that writes the show for Netflix. In an interview January 9th, he's actually asked, "What are your thoughts on the Punisher symbol being co-opted by police or the military?"
Yeah,
Quote,
and he hates it.
I've talked about this in other interviews. To me, it's disturbing whenever I see authority figures embrace Punisher iconography, because the Punisher represents a failure of the justice system. He's supposed to indict the collapse of social moral authority and the reality some people can't depend on installations like the police or the military to act in a just and capable way.
Literally anybody who knows the Punisher story fucking knows that. I don't know why. It's always blown my mind that they fucking use the Punisher mask or skull for that, because it's such a juxtaposition. It doesn't fucking belong there.
Well, that's just another example of how irony is lost on people anymore.
Yeah. No,
like completely.
The vigilante anti-hero is fundamentally a critique of the justice system, an example of social failure. So when cops put Punisher skulls on the cars, or members in the military wear the Punisher skull patches, they basically side with the enemy of the system. They're embracing the outlaw mentality. Whether you think the Punisher is justified
they don't know they are.
Whether you admire his code of ethics, he is an outlaw. He is a criminal. Police should not embrace a criminal as their symbol.
He's a vigilante because the cops didn't fucking do shit. Look, his family died because of government and police corruption, and nobody fucking helped him, and he had to take matters into his own fucking hands.
Pretty much, yeah.
Even
that's the whole story of the Punisher.
the original Punisher in the comics, Frank Castle is a Vietnam veteran who got absolutely no help when he got home after he had been drafted and everything else. He got no help when he got home, and then he tried to build a life, and then it all gets taken away by the mob. And then the government, because it's all corrupt, none of them will help him, so he has to go and start killing people himself. And in a scene that's similar between multiple versions of him in the comics and the TV show with Daredevil, where he winds up in court, he straight up says, "You don't get to judge me. You don't get to judge me because when you had the opportunity to help me, you turned your back and you wouldn't do anything because you cared more about what you wanted than about doing good for anybody. That's what's actually important to you." And that's what Frank Castle is about.
Yes.
Stands for.
That's literally the whole point of the fucking Punisher. My God.
Yeah. And then you want to go and as agents of the corrupt system that he straight up says is useless and doesn't work anymore, then as those agents, they want to wear his symbol. So that means one of two things. Either you think you're outside the law and have a right to be judge, jury, and executioner, which is troubling but probably accurate, or you don't understand the message of the Punisher at all and somehow think that because he is judge, jury, and executioner, he's this great guy and pro law enforcement, and you haven't.
I would think 95% of them are B, and the other 5% are like A from those two options, you know?
Yep.
Like the vast majority are just fucking ignorant and they just think he's cool.
Yeah. I mean,
and
Ben Stone says institutional subversion and sabotage. He says the state claims a monopoly on justice, but vigilante justice is the only way to achieve true justice. The alternative to vigilante justice is the perverted version of justice that the state supplies, and we know what kind of distorted justice that is and what kind of sick and twisted society it produces.
Third-party justice is no fucking justice at all, is exactly what that means. It's
check it.
Yeah,
check out the I was just gonna say check out the quote that I just sent you.
Yeah, Dan sent one from Jack Donovan. He says, as things get worse and the state seems powerless to help, the state will seem less and less legitimate. People will lose their moral connection to it. Laws will seem more like revenue traps and shakedowns. The state will start to seem more like another extortion racket. And as in Mexico, people will have a harder time telling the good guys from the bad guys.
Yeah, so, I mean, things get exposed for what they actually fucking always have.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is with the Bandito gang in the sheriff's department. It's another level of the state, and other cops are complaining because the state is coming down on the members of the state for not doing the state their way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're like, you're not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
and
what
let's
we need
be
is
honest.
more laws.
Let's be honest.
Clearly that's the problem.
Hazing and cliques have always been a thing in law enforcement and in the military. Always have been a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Only now, some of them, one of these cliques gave itself a fucking name and a symbol. And so now, whoa, it's a big fucking deal. And now they're going to throw a fucking fit about it.
Well, and if you think about it, it's not even all that surprising that they would do that, because you do see that in the military with all of the individual units. We all have our own patches. We all have our own mottos.
Yeah, right.
And it's part of that. It's that same mentality. And I can almost guarantee you it's probably linked to a bunch of guys who came from the military to law enforcement that carried that exact same mentality with them. And they
or guys that washed out, and wanted to be part of that and couldn't fucking hack it.
Probably,
well,
I'm sure.
Plays, I was going to say that plays into human nature of wanting to be a tribal animal and people wanting to be part of a group or whatever.
It makes people feel stronger to be part of
and it's
group.
But it gets I mean, there's a natural there's a healthy version of that, but they hijack it and use it against us. Yeah. Which is that's where it becomes a problem.
Right.
Well, and that's exactly the thing that you see. You see it with actual inner city gangs. You see it where I don't have a family that I can rely on.
Exactly.
I don't have all those people. Well, the gang's going to be my family now, and so that's what people gravitate towards.
Right. And loyalty to the gang above everything else.
Right.
Well, gang, Uber alles. It seems like Uber alles that sounds familiar to me. I mean,
Oh
what do
God,
you guys think?
I don't know. Something Dutch or something maybe. It had a song.
Yeah,
There's something there.
But
I
like
don't
that,
know.
see,
Rings
like I
a
mean,
bell.
if humans do that voluntarily, which they're gonna do anyway, like that's like okay as long as they're not harming anybody. But like when the state hijacks it and uses that like for violence, it's
Mhm.
not a good thing.
Yeah, when
It's
anybody
never
hijacks
resulted
it
in
and
anything
uses
good.
it for violence, the only difference
Yeah.
between crime syndicates doing it and the state doing it is that the state fucking gave itself permission on paper to do it and convinced people that that was legit. That's the
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
only difference
Seriously.
between
Yeah.
a crime syndicate and a government.
It's like a mind fuck.
Yep.
No. All right.
We're getting close.
Yeah. We got, there's one, this one's quick, and then there's a longer one, then we got one quick one. Man accused of having 16 pounds of marijuana in his car won't be prosecuted.
Good.
Woo!
Yep.
A North Carolina man who police say had 16 pounds of marijuana in his vehicle. First of all, this guy is invited to any party we ever have.
Yes.
16 pounds,
Right.
dude.
Yeah.
North Carolina man who police said had 16 pounds of marijuana in his vehicle no longer faced drug charges in Maryland, where Baltimore's top prosecutor has said she won't prosecute anyone possessing cannabis.
Good.
Defense attorney Tony Garcia tells news outlets that the charges were dropped Thursday against 30-year-old Dwight Shiney of Winston-Salem. Baltimore State Attorney Marilyn Mosby announced in January that her office would end prosecution on charges of possessing cannabis, regardless of the quantity or the person's criminal history.
Now, if we could just apply this to those red flag laws, Maryland, and do something about.
Yeah. Mosby said recently that those arrested, however, were being released quickly. However, Garcia says Shiney was held without bail since his arrest February 5th. State attorney spokesman Melba Sanders said prosecutors first thought the case involved distribution of marijuana. However, she says prosecutors decided it was a possession case. Quote, if you're going to come out and tell the people, hey, I'm just going to prosecute people. I'm not going to prosecute people no matter how much they have on you. And why are you going to make them sit in jail? Blah, blah. Shiney was found with more than a dozen heat-sealed bags of marijuana in his trunk. Quote, you can buy 48 bottles of water. You can buy other products in bulk. It just means you take them home and use them over time, Garcia told the station.
Now, I don't know if I'm ever going to smoke 16 pounds worth of weed in my life.
I think if you try, you probably forget how to, like, move.
Yeah.
And read.
But that doesn't mean I wouldn't like to see it on the shelves in my pantry.
Hey, preppers got to prep.
Preppers got to prep.
Preppers got to prep. The union representing Maryland Transportation Authority officers said in a statement that Shiney's release was, quote, incredibly disturbing. Quote, there is no doubt this individual will go right back to distributing illegal drugs as soon as he can, the union said.
Oh, is this Minority Report? You can fucking arrest me for a future crime? You fucking assholes.
Yeah. 16 pounds in the trunk, no charges.
Well, you know, people buy toilet paper in bulk and stuff, so...
Yeah,
I got a big old 48 pack sitting on top of the
fridge.
fridge.
Does it even hurt? Who does it fucking hurt?
Well, and that's the thing is,
nobody.
You know that the moment that any prosecutor finally figures out, oh yeah, that's right, in the United States, there's checks and balances, and the executive branch can choose not to enforce laws that shouldn't have existed in the first place. That's right, I could just refuse to prosecute. You know that the police were totally not ever going to enforce gun confiscation.
Right.
You know that those cops are going to go, well, how dare you? It's the law. We have to enforce it.
Yeah.
And the cops are pissed off they weren't able to take his car.
And what does that do to the cop's psyche? Oh, the prosecutor isn't going to do shit about this. They're just going to fucking kill people.
They're going to slap a Punisher skull on their uniform.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just going to be killing people because if the prosecutor's not going to do anything about it and it's the person still breaking the law, you know, I mean, shit's going to get fucking violent.
Yeah, I just found out the New York passed red flag laws.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, great.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. There was.
Oh, it doesn't
talk-
surprise me either, but I just didn't see anything about it in the news.
Well,
Yeah, well, I'm sure that was done nice and quietly.
Oh yeah.
I
but-
don't even worry
yeah.
about laws like that happening here because I lost all of my guns. My dogs ate my guns.
Yeah,
And then I lost
exactly.
my dogs in a tragic boating accident.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, I'm a
one yet.
terrible boat driver. I've lost so many guns and into the water. It's terrible. I mean, it's just absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is the other thing too. That actually brings up a good point. Is like with these red flag laws and there being the confiscation happening. How do they know? How do they know you have guns? And the answer is because despite
You
the fact
registered.
that those- well, yeah, despite the fact that those purchases are not supposed to be kept on file and are totally not a registry when you do the background checks, they're totally a freaking registry. And
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
how
yeah.
they know that you have
You
them.
literally have to sign the papers.
Yeah.
Oh, not only that, but I'm sure they
But you
monitor
know what?
people's
I
like
threw away my
Facebook posts
guns.
and things like that.
I threw away what was left of my guns. So if they want it, they can go rifle through the dead body parts of American soldiers that are in my local landfill
Oh,
and try to find my fucking guns there.
Ouch.
Damn, that was a.
That was
Cri-
out.
Christopher says dog ate your guns. Must be a Glock.
Must be a Glock.
To which I have this response right now. This response right here.
You know what? I wouldn't put it past my dogs to eat my fucking car. Have you seen my dogs?
Just,
I mean,
their
your
dogs are
your ponies with teeth.
My
yeah.
ponies, all three of them. Yeah.
Investigation underway after Oklahoma County inmate, quote, lost in the system for nearly 8 months.
That's crazy.
Because you have a right as an American citizen to a fair and speedy trial.
Yeah, totally. After 8 months of
Yeah,
being
Christopher says
But
back.
first, go
back
fuck
at you,
yourself.
Goff. This one, back at you, Goff. An investigation is underway after an Oklahoma County inmate spent nearly 8 months behind bars without a court date. Local judge issued a court.
Not even an arraignment?
No.
he just got tossed in.
Yeah. A local judge issued a court-sanctioned check of all inmates in jail Friday after learning Charles Lemons was lost in the criminal justice system for months. Quote, "It's terrifying to think that one can be here and lost in the system," said County Commissioner Kevin Calvi. County court documents show that people taken into custody must be arraigned within 10 days. Lemons wasn't arraigned until Monday. Public Information Officer Mark Opagrad said the Oklahoma County Jail said Lemons was arrested on a probation violation July 21st.
Holy shit.
Yeah, on July 21st, 2018, he was arrested. He was brought over in on a violation of suspended sentence. On the 23rd of July, was sent over the warrant paperwork over to the courts, and on the 24th, the certified papers had received over there. It wasn't until several months later, up until a little while ago, that we were informed that he, Lemons, had not had a court date and had been there this entire time.
But remember, America, you're innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, totally.
Opengrad
fucked
said
up.
the jail relies on the courts to get the paperwork to back them with information like court dates for inmates.
But the jails can literally fucking see who is there.
Yeah.
Like,
And it was no one's job to question why somebody who wasn't in the system was in jail. They're just going to leave them there.
right.
Yeah.
To be fair, the
That's
hospital
just
that
that's
took my Thompson
taxpayer
off-
money they're collecting.
And do you think that guy was quiet the whole time?
Oh,
You
no.
think he just sat there and waited? No, I bet he was saying, "What the fuck? I haven't even been in front of a judge."
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
telling,
when's
Yeah.
my date?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking ridiculous.
That's the way they work. That is exactly the way they work. They don't care. And the more you go, I haven't been in front of a judge, they're like, yeah, whatever. And then they walk out because they don't care. They don't care about the people that they're supposed to be taking care of.
And that's the whole fucking thing. Just doing my job and only my fucking job.
Yep.
And only my job.
Brett Goff says, "I spent 3 days in county, quote, lost in the system. I had to have an attorney deal with the jail. I kept thinking, what do I do? Tell the guard that I'm not supposed to be here?"
Yeah.
They're gonna believe you.
Yeah.
Seriously.
The
'Cause
transcript
that's totally
yeah.
gonna work.
You got the wrong guy.
Yeah.
The transcript shows Lemons told the person on the other line that he looked on the kiosk machines for the court date and charges when he learned he didn't have any. Quote, it's clear to us that Lemons knew he had been there a long time without seeing a judge. That information never formally made it back to us.
That should be an automatic dismissal of charges against him.
Yeah.
Open
Yeah,
ground
right?
said Lemons
Seriously.
made 15 requests while in jail, but none that formally stated he had been in jail too long.
15 requests saying I'm not supposed to be here. I haven't seen a judge. You need to let me go. 15 times, but but you didn't specify the right words through the right channel.
And where was his fucking public defender? Like saying my client
he never saw a judge, so he didn't have one.
Yeah, he didn't even have an attorney.
He never had an arraignment.
That's fucked.
So his Miranda rights were absolutely fucking violated.
Oh, they don't give a fuck about Miranda rights, dude.
No, I know. That's my point. That's my point, really. They don't give a fuck about your rights.
Yeah, quote, one of the things we do is look at it. One of the things that we look at is there anything that was said to us that we didn't report? We went back to look at his request to staff, such things as, do I need a Bible? Do I request a meeting with the chaplain? Do I need socks? He made 15 requests, not one request, though, saying that he knew that or indicated that he hadn't had a court date and he's been here too long.
So you better know the law.
Well, not only that, like they're putting the entire thing, like him being there,
like the whole
they're putting the entire thing on him, like it's his fault that the system didn't.
We're gonna kidnap you and lock you in a cage, and it's your fault for not fucking knowing when we're supposed to let you go.
But the cops, remember, aren't obligated to know the law.
Yeah,
remember, there's already jurisprudence for that.
It's nobody's fault. God. Everybody's hands are clean. It's just fucking fluke of the universe.
You should have looked at the fucking calendar, dickhead.
It's literally his fault that he was kidnapped and didn't tell his kidnappers that he shouldn't have been kidnapped.
Right. Or that they held him for too long after kidnapping. Yeah.
That's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, and the fact
absurd. It's fucking absurd.
What should terrify everybody is it's not like this is a thing that was done maliciously, because that would be scary enough.
This is just sheer fucking incompetence.
Yeah, from incompetence, which means literally no one is immune from this. Imagine for a second you get pulled over for a broken taillight. They smell alcohol in your breath, whether you're actually drinking or not, whatever. You get hauled off to jail, and then you get lost in the system and are potentially in that jail for a year because everything just got lost.
Yeah.
I mean, and no one sees you, nothing else. You don't even have an attorney to call because you don't have a court date.
And nobody listens when you say, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, once you're inside, once you're in the system, the gears move so much slower than when you're on the outside, because when you're on the inside, you're controlled. There's literally nothing you can do.
There's no urgency on their part to fucking deal with you because they have you securely fucking controlled, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh yeah, once they had me on monitoring when I got arrested, they had me on monitoring after I got out. It took them 18 months before I actually even had an official court date, because every time one was set, the DA would petition to have it pushed out again while they gathered additional evidence. Translation, we have no evidence whatsoever at all that'll hold up, and we just need to delay this long enough that you give up, which I had to, because at some point I have to get a job again. I have to rebuild my life, and no one will hire me if I have pending charges. So I had to do something to resolve it. So they force you into a plea bargain by delaying forever.
That's what they did to Jeremy.
With our buddy Jeremy Hengiller, Seeds of Liberty podcast.
Yeah.
It went like 17 months. Like he had like 16 court appearances or something like that. And like all but one of them,
everyone was a continuance.
Yeah, like all but one of them was the The state saying we need more time, we need more time, we need more time, we need more time, and they kept offering him plea deal,
Yep.
trying to get him to plead guilty. You know, to what was it, a menacing charge?
Yeah.
Right, because he pulled a knife on his own property. I mean,
yeah, on somebody who was harassing him on his own property and didn't fucking leave when he told them to.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly. I mean, but that's exactly how they work. Is they will go out of their way to control you one way or another the moment you're in that system to get their way, because they don't care about justice. They don't care about who was wrong or anything else. They care about conviction rates. They care about security.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Their fucking conviction records are like, that's their most precious thing.
Hashtag free Ross.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not about justice. It's about control, and it's about the illusion of safety to everybody else, so that everybody else will acquiesce to them.
Yeah,
for
safety.
Look at all these criminals we take off the streets and keep you safe from.
But
look at these fucking statistics and these numbers.
It's funny how those rules don't apply to them, though.
No, there's a gang fighting the rest of the fucking police department in California.
Yeah, right.
Now. And they were told to just fucking duke it out.
Yeah, just fight them. They're bullies. Just stand up to it, little Johnny. I'm 34 years old. I don't feel like
you gotta
have an IQ.
And meanwhile, all reasonable people want is fucking Joe and Blow. All right?
Yeah.
Is that too much to fucking ask for?
And yet we just do not get it. Instead, we get killer robots.
I just wanted a mug and tug.
Yeah, fucking mug and tug.
This should be a T-shirt. I asked for a Joe and Blow, and all I got was this killer robot.
Yeah. we need Anarchy Among Friends merch, you guys.
We do.
That would be amazing.
That would be awesome. I would be wearing that crap.
I'm telling you, I want to create the anti-celebritarian league T-shirt.
Yeah,
celebritarian.
I was thinking about getting into requesting an invite to Amazon merch, because there's a few things that I wanted to put together on there. So if that ever works out, I'll start putting together Anarchy Among Friends merch.
All right, Christopher says, I don't know how I didn't get arrested a couple of weeks ago while out shoveling. I was carrying, so they had to stop and check everything was okay. They asked me why I felt the need to carry while shoveling. I told them in case some agents of a tyrannical state showed up to harass me.
Yeah, totally. Toma police, man. Yeah, tell you what.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, just in case a violent gang impersonating public servant shows up and harasses me.
Hashtag banditos.
Yep.
Sex for unmarried in Utah may soon be legalized.
Woo!
Oh.
Ooh, congratulations, Utah. The thing that you've already been doing for like ever.
The thing that human beings have been doing forever, you might be able to do without being thrown in jail soon.
With the stroke of a pen, sex for the unmarried in the Beehive State may soon be legalized. A bill changing the criminal code in Utah may soon remove fornication as a Class B misdemeanor. Yeah, Senator Kerry Maine is the chief sponsor, while Representative Ray Paul is the sponsor in the state's House. It has been voted on and passed by both bodies, meaning it's only waiting the signature of Governor Gary Herbert. If it becomes law, it will remove the fornication clause from Utah's criminal code. It currently reads, any unmarried person who shall voluntarily engage in sexual intercourse with another is guilty of fornication.
Voluntarily. And
fornication is a Class B misdemeanor. The current law is part of Chapter 7, Offenses Against the Family, meaning those found guilty are punishable by up to 6 months in jail and a fine of $1,000.
Jesus Christ.
Against the family.
Hey, we keep saying this, but you guys, we really need to end up doing just one show on like sex crimes, like victimless fucking sex codes. You know, like the things you can be.
The law.
Oh yeah.
Sex laws.
Sex toys.
Yeah.
So they sell novelty items.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a show on sex crimes. Oh
yeah.
Man, my volume's all the way down. Give me a second.
I'm gonna have to compile a list here.
There we go. There we go. That's
yeah,
what
I knew that's what was gonna happen. Hell yeah.
I have a Law and Order button.
Oh, nice.
He really does. I
legitimately have
awesome.
a Law and Order button on my phone that all I have to do is go, and I got it. So
Nice.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to download.
I
that
have to down. Yeah, me too.
Me too.
I've used it a couple of times where somebody will say something. and I'll just
Hashtag
be
me
like,
too.
I also have
Fucking awesome.
I have an Owen Wilson soundboard of him just saying "wow."
That's obnoxious. He did it for
Wow,
like 3
wow,
days.
wow. Yeah, I just kept. We were just sitting here, and every time it got quiet, I just started hitting them.
Oh,
But I mean, we could fill up an entire podcast at least just going over weird sex laws
To be
in
fair,
America and the ways
set
that
up a different podcast to just talk about that every week.
yeah, you could.
we
yeah.
can
Like
we
you're
can,
not.
But I mean,
we could
do
literally
one
go
show.
an entire podcast on literally any of the things that we discussed, though.
That's true. That's true.
Like in
I just
Wyoming,
think
it's
it would be
probably
fun.
illegal to like fucking do like reverse cowgirl with a weasel in your back pocket or some shit.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's Montana that it's legal for a non-married couple to kiss in public if the man has a mustache.
Yeah, if he has a mustache.
There's
It's
a
actually in
town-
their state constitution.
There's a town
the
here in
fuck?
Virginia where it's still illegal for men to shine their shoes, so they can't look up women's skirts in the reflection of their shoes.
Because so many women are wearing
Unfortunate.
skirts still.
I know.
Right? Sundresses.
So yeah, we should do a show on that because that would be a really fun one.
Yeah.
And
All right.
Andrew, keep your Law and Order button handy for that one.
All right, nap. Let's play nap violation or not.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Man arrested for choking driver who wouldn't stop singing Christmas carols.
Oh.
Not.
Hey Andrew, do you have a Jeopardy button?
I not yet, but I can
Not
probably.
yet.
Okay.
Does it sound like prostate cancer?
Well, here's the thing.
Oh man,
So was it an Uber driver?
that's ruthless.
Right? So you get in someone else's car. And yeah, Christmas carols are fucking annoying.
Yeah. It
But you're
had to be an Uber, yeah, because
Right. You're in somebody
Chrysler
else's
town and country.
you're in somebody else's car. You're there voluntarily.
Well, that's like that dude that threw the beer bottle at that bartender's head because she changed. She put on Christmas carols over like Black Sabbath or something like
Yeah,
that.
she turned off Black Sabbath.
Yeah, that's fucking great.
To be fair, that's warranted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. That's what I mean.
And-
That's a nap violation.
And it was at 9 a.m. on a Monday morning.
Oh.
Yeah. That's,
See, if you're driving an Uber at 9 a.m. on a Monday morning, you don't fucking put the radio on. You don't fucking speak to the people that are in your
No,
car.
you offer your passenger Joe and a blow and just
Yeah, you
Yeah,
are
Joe,
at least
blow.
Joe, if not the blow.
Yeah.
Or yeah, I would say, or a different kind of blow.
I
Yeah.
was just gonna say,
Christopher says Sparta,
or
Wisconsin.
both.
It's illegal to tie your horse to a tree in a public park. La Crosse, Wisconsin, it's illegal to worry a squirrel.
Yep, it is illegal here in the city that I live in to worry a squirrel.
Yes, which
What
means
the fuck?
there's actually parks here that the squirrels are so bold they'll come up and take your food out of your hand. But if you chase them off, you can actually be arrested.
Now
We have
that sounds like an archaic law, but the way that worry used to be used was when you would have something in your hands and you were fidgeting with it nervously. That was called worrying something.
So you can't you can't have a stress relief squirrel.
Yeah, no fucking
Oh my god,
squeezy
I'm
toys.
only barely
Squirrels are
with the
not
law.
your fucking stress squeezy toys.
Its eyes.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny
So
is
you gotta wonder which, because worry was used the other way then too. It had multiple meanings, but that meaning is kind of anachronistic these days. But you have to wonder which meaning was meant by that wording in the law.
And why was it a big enough issue that somebody felt the need to
Exactly.
Yeah, right?
Were there just
Exactly.
people in La Crosse just picking up squirrels just like
Like they were fidget spinners.
Like-
Fucking,
squirrels like what the hell's happening? What the hell's happening? I need
that's
to know.
another Anarchy Among Friends merch. We got to get fidget spinners with squirrels' faces
Squirrels.
on them.
And then not legal for sale in La Crosse.
Yeah.
that means you can't get your swallet.
He can
I
hustle him
know,
out of the
it's
trunk of the
cool.
car in lacrosse, black market style.
Sell them out of the truck. If I got arrested for that, do you know how not mad I would be? Like,
We'd have to have a fundraiser fucking show.
I would be
Yeah.
telling everyone in that jailhouse, dude, I got arrested for worrying.
What are you in for? I got arrested for fucking
Worrying
fidgeting with a squirrel.
Yeah, black market worrying squirrels. And they'd just be like, I'm sorry, what? And I'm like, oh, yeah, you heard
Like
me.
people used to
Like,
carry
motherfucker,
like
how
a
much
rock.
acid did you just take?
Like people used to carry like a rock in a pocket, and they would call it their worry stone.
Yeah, I know about the worry,
And-
the little.
Yeah, and they'd take it out and like rub on it when they were anxious about something.
Maybe it was
So-
something to do with static charge generation.
Okay, Tesla, calm down.
No science experiments with the squirrels, Andrew.
Wind up with a static electric squirrel, which would be.
Christopher also says in the state of Wisconsin, it's illegal to substitute margarine for butter at a restaurant without a customer's consent.
That is
Yes,
I
that
actually
is
like
very
that
true.
law.
I believe that one.
Yeah,
I can get down with
believe
that.
That's a law I can support.
Also,
In the state of California, both those things cause cancer.
it actually is also technically illegal to buy or to sell margarine that is made to look like butter.
Yes, if it's yellow, it's actually
technically still illegal. In fact, up until the cops basically gave up on enforcing it, people would actually have to buy either white margarine with these little yellow dye packets to make it yellow, or you had to drive across the river to Minnesota and you buy it there and bring it back.
It doesn't surprise
so
me though,
crazy.
because like a law like that in Wisconsin, clearly that is an industry protection law. It has nothing to do with people or safety. It's, I mean, in such a big dairy area with cheese and butter and stuff, obviously that's an industry sponsored law.
And Jason, I hate to say this to you, but cows are much happier here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, happy cows do not come from California. They come from Wisconsin.
They actually enjoy our 4 seasons.
Yeah. You kidding me? They don't even know that there are 4 seasons. You ever looked at a cow? That is not the world's most intelligent animal.
Right?
They tend to
They're
just
still marginally more intelligent than sheep though. Can we at least give them that?
barely. But I mean, well, and cows are weird because like they can get best friends and things, and it's very weird.
In California, it is illegal to build, maintain, or use a nuclear weapon within Chico city limits.
Just there.
God damn it, Chico!
Hey, Chico's where Chico's actually where my brother lives. He's a graduate, or both my brothers or 2 of my brothers are graduates of Chico State University. Yeah.
There. So
no
recreational
pocket
in Colorado, you may own a catapult, but you cannot discharge it.
What's the point of owning a catapult
Right.
if I can't?
I can't live in Colorado now.
Yeah, me neither.
No, sir.
That's why there are so many roads in Colorado. They can't fire their catapults.
In Connecticut,
Illuminati confirmed.
That's fucking
And
amazing.
Colorado is so mountainous. It's the perfect place for catapults.
Yeah.
In Connecticut, a pickle cannot be sold unless it bounces. According to a 1948 article, the law became necessary after two scheming pickle packers tried to sell pickles that were, quote, unfit for human consumption on the sly. Connecticut's Food and Drug Commissioner at the time proclaimed that a real pickle, quote, should bounce when dropped from a height of 1 foot, leading to a new state regulation.
That's
Jeez.
funny.
Your pickle's got to bounce.
That just doesn't sound right.
I know.
Sounds
What we need is bouncy pickles.
Doesn't your pickle always bounce like you got up out of bed in the morning?
Although bouncy
You gotta
pickles
slap it
does
off
sound
her
like a
face.
really horrifying
See
birthday.
if it bounces.
What are we bouncing? Okay. Won't somebody think of answering the question? What are we bouncing the pickles off of?
Women's
Okay.
faces.
I mean, there are videos to instruct on what you're bouncing. Though.
Right.
Okay,
Oh, I know what
I've
we're
been
bouncing it off of around here. All right. I'm just
Yeah,
I need to be concerned about what other people are doing.
in Delaware, to prevent quote mischief of any sort, children in the city of Rehoboth Rehoboth Beach must go trick-or-treating between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Halloween, unless Halloween falls on a Sunday. In that case, quote, such going door-to-door and house-to-house for treats shall take place on the evening of October 30th instead.
Jesus.
What? No trick-or-treating on Sundays,
On the
apparently.
Sabbath.
You can't have a pagan
Florida-
holiday on a day that has clearly always been Christian since the beginning of time.
Yeah. In Florida, it's illegal. In Georgia, you can't eat chicken with utensils, or can't eat fried chicken with utensils.
Yeah, I knew about that one from when I lived there. Somebody told me.
I can agree with that.
Was arrested for the chicken forking violation in 2009.
You
That's
can.
good.
It just makes you a fucking
2009.
weirdo.
Yeah,
I might
and-
even consider them for a fucking helicopter ride.
yeah. In Idaho, there is an active ban on cannibalism
Like that.
because it is defined as the quote the non-consensual consumption of another human.
Wait, you can
No,
consensually?
but you could consensually. So that dude that got arrested in Germany a
Of
few years
course
ago,
you
he
can
would have been within
consensually
law.
consume another human. I get consensually eaten all the time.
Oh, damn.
Uh,
Yeah, perfect timing. Oh, that was impeccable.
I love you.
That was fucking.
We need to hire somebody that's just like a soundboard man.
I think Andrew volunteered.
yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, we can't move to Kentucky either because dueling is illegal.
Oh,
No
come
dueling.
on.
What's
That's
the fun
bullshit.
in that? It's Kentucky. Come on.
I want to duel with whoever
I
wrote that
say
law.
make dueling great again.
Yeah.
Like all
Fucking
these keyboard warriors, it should be legal to meet up in public and fucking take 10 paces and shoot at each other.
In Maryland, it is illegal to swear or curse upon the street or highway in Rockville, Maryland. Anyone caught swearing will face a misdemeanor charge, effectively having to add $100 to the city swear jar.
Because the First Amendment doesn't exist.
I
We should
say
have-
no, none of that coarse
should do
language.
like a-
In Massachusetts, it is illegal to dance to the national anthem.
This was an issue?
Who wants
I
to
mean,
dance to
I
it
can-
anyways? It's,
Hey, I can understand it's such a catchy tune with such a great beat.
it's got good bass. It's all about that bass.
We should do like a minor anarchy campaign where like if people that are like listening that are like around that area where that law can be broken, they should go there and do that.
Go
Dan,
break.
you're onto something. We should go. We should go to all these places and break those stupid old fucking laws publicly and
That
on
would be
YouTube.
awesome. Patreon campaign.
To be fair, I was gonna say we could probably kickstart that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do an entire video
Yeah.
series.
This one's a shout out to our friend Nikki over at Liberty Doll. Anyone who's driving through Montana has inevitably wondered, quote, how far can I throw this frisbee over the plains? Those who seek answers avoid hell no. It is illegal to play floff, that is frisbee golf, anywhere not deemed a sanctioned floff course. Curiosity could cost you $500 or 6 months jail time.
Oh my god.
It's-
Golfing in the wrong place.
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's do it though, guys. Let's start
So we got-
going through.
In Nebraska,
got
you
flo-
can't
we
get
got-
married if you have VD.
We got floppers,
Yeah.
mug and tugs, fucking Joe and blows.
Yeah.
Tonight's been
This is
eventful.
just people trying to live their goddamn best lives,
yeah.
and the
what the hell?
government won't let us.
Why do you hate fun so much, government? Why do you hate fun?
Voluntary human consumption.
Okay.
That's my right.
New Jersey, it is against the law to murder someone, but in New Jersey, it is double against the law to murder someone while you're wearing a bulletproof vest.
Oh my
Wait,
god.
does that mean for the cops?
Well, well, double against
Super-
the law.
Yeah, does that
How
apply to the cops?
how does
Of course,
it-
double
Is that
top
like-
secret probation.
I was just gonna say that, dude.
Dun, dun.
Although
We
I
should-
mean,
you
killing
guys-
that guy,
I'm
killing that
fucking
guy,
Yeah,
man,
like-
that was bad. But you were wearing a bulletproof vest.
We should start a video trend though. We should of people looking up the most ridiculous laws in their state and videotaping themselves breaking those retarded fucking laws.
Sorry, Dan, this one's yours, man. If you order a sliced bagel in New York City, forget about a square deal. Altered bagel, sliced toast or served with cream cheese, etc., carry an 8-cent sales tax. Uncut bagels are typically exempt.
Yeah. So you can buy it with the cream cheese on the side and a plastic knife. But
Yeah.
What? I just
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're out of time.
yeah. I'm gonna have a stroke here. This is just
I'm only halfway through this list. Like in Rhode Island, it's illegal to false personification, personate an auctioneer.
impersonate. Who's got that talent? Because if you have
Yeah,
the
I was
ability
gonna say
to
I couldn't
impersonate,
impersonate an auctioneer even if I fucking
You might as well
wanted
be
to.
one.
yeah, you are an auctioneer at that point. I mean,
Yeah.
no, this man is an imposter. What?
Utah, you cannot have a missile.
Who here has been to a livestock auction? All right. That
I've
shit is
seen auctions. Yeah, they're fucking
insane.
nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to livestock auctions and holy shit, they talk
gotta-
so fast.
You gotta avoid Utah too because you cannot have a missile in a bus station.
Oh,
Well,
fuck
that's
you, Utah.
tyrannical.
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
Guess I'm never going
But
there.
at least you can have premarital sex now.
Progress.
No, yeah, we won't.
Yeah. You can't have your missile out in the bus station. I think is what they meant to say. Where's the Law and Order sound, Andrew?
Hang on, damn.
Or if I had someone
Yo,
else's missile out,
fucking rip.
it would.
I didn't have my missile out. It was that guy's missile.
We need that sound every time somebody makes a sexual innuendo on the show.
Are you kidding me? You know how many times I have to hit this thing?
Charge your phone. Make sure you charge your phone.
We'll have people
Alright.
it'll be like a
I got
cult
kids to
following
put
of
to
people
bed.
that count how many times the fucking button's been pressed on the show.
We could turn to a drinking game at that point and
Yeah,
go back and watch
exactly. There you
hear
go.
the sound.
Perfect.
Take a shot every time Andrew hits the Law and Order SVU button.
We're all waking up with good boots at that point.
Local hospitals are baffled by the recent uptick in alcohol poisoning cases.
Oh, if anybody designed the drinking game around this podcast, please let us know.
Yes,
Seriously.
please.
We're begging. Somebody build a drinking game around this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Andrew will keep
asking
doing the Law and Order sound every time somebody makes a sexual innuendo. So that one's already kind of built for you if you want to go there.
That one really doesn't count, but
We will play along. I promise you.
Yes.
yeah. I will go back and watch episodes and do that, whatever that.
Yes. Right.
We'll
And I
edit
will
it back
videotape
in.
myself doing
That
it.
would be an interesting show, like us watching a previous show, like doing a live review.
Yeah, and
drinking
like
game,
drinking
we'll
every
watch the
time
previous
somebody
show.
says something sexual.
That would be.
Hell yeah.
We'd all be so shit.
We'd be,
Oh my God.
we'd
That'd
be
be
fucking
so fun.
wrecked.
As long as we don't go back to like some of the original episodes, like if we redid like episode 3 or 4, we're
Oh
all
man.
We'd all be dead.
alcohol.
We would be dead if we
Yeah.
redid
I'm
episode
really sad
3.
we missed out on those.
Tara says that if we do a drinking game, she'll pick up on drinking if that happens.
Okay, cool.
I don't drink either. I'm going on like 20 months here. But-
Yeah, Jason, he's got his tea though. He'll take a slug of tea.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Getting sugar wasted.
We do offer
Yeah.
shots though of lemongrass. Namaste.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
All
buy,
right.
you
I
can
gotta
buy your
go.
own Joe and Blow now. I'm not paying for yours.
I got a bunch of homeschooled hooligans that I have to get to bed.
All right.
So
On that note, this has been another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.
peace.